So he's really got to watch out for his positioning here. And Sanji and Few are going to be a big focus on the draft because for them, Juicin and Farsa is the main trade. These two teams are always fighting for those two heroes.
Yup, especially with how aggressive Team Liquid Philippines has always been playing. Although we saw some sort of that kind of recipe from Team Falcons over the course of Week 7 and Week 8, where it was Calteasy constantly playing Lancelot, the highlight of the Eastern Shin, which, by the way, I believe is going to be heavily contested towards this map. And man, I'm telling you right now,
Let's go.
it's just 2 seconds, and we are completely a second away from making this officially our first game of the playoffs. And, you know, if you were living under a rock, we've already made our annual map change, which is basically how the changes are going to be. But broken walls are going to be the choice here for our two teams. It gives them a little bit more avenue, but hey, look at this. Team Falcons has only played in this map once this season.
And if you have been living under a rock, please let us know if your home was affected by the Broken Walls map. That house of yours, that rock might have been shattered by the Broken Walls map. So here we are, red side. We were talking about it earlier, man. The CC going into the gold lane. That has definitely changed things up. Up there with Bane gold lane. Up there with Alice EXP lane in terms of the trading of priorities with our drafts. So Liquid are looking at Roam, mid, and an EXP and or gold flex. But I think Liquid are looking at that CC pick more as a Super Marco pick than it actually is a flat TZ pick. I like the respect shown by Liquid, and I like that Falcons. I have always said this, just never give the 1-1 to anyone you're going up against in MPL Philippines, especially since OHEP is perfect with that hero.
You know, gold laners in MPL Philippines are doing a pretty dang good job in making sure that that 1-1 is scaling perfectly, and it's quite unstoppable when that happens. And same could be said for that chip. We haven't seen a lot of chip all throughout the season, so at this point, it's Team Liquid Philippines and Team Falcons just really taking matters into their own hands, and there is the Zushin, quite familiar for Sanji. I would say this could also go for Few, but they've denied that from Few. Instead, we're gonna give Calteasy a familiar hero with that Lancelot.
Alright, so this is very in line with the ordering of the draft, the priorities for these two teams. Liquid, we mentioned it earlier, the Juicin and the Farsa trade. They banned Farsa, get Juicin. Sanji got a savage with the Juicin earlier this season against AP Bren. 6-1 and 5 was his KDA. Now Calteasy steals away a Calteasy favorite pick in the Lancelot. Yisun Shin is still open, but then now with Grok's presence, what is Liquid gonna do to make sure they back up Calteasy in the jungle? They get JP's Scouted Kacha earlier on. So now the priorities have changed. It's Sanford's and OHEP's pick that we're waiting for in the second phase for Team Liquid, while Falcons might lock in their mid laner here or already show one of their gold laners so they can start banning it out against OHEP.
Lots of bodies covering for Calteasy in this Team Liquid Philippines strategy, but for the other side, that's Team Falcons looking for a hero, quite possibly for Few or maybe even for Super Marco, because we saw a lot of potential trades here in the banning stages. You still have 2 more options here for the bans if you are Team Falcons. And for that final pick, it's going to be the Kimmy, so they want to preserve that Super Marco pick, because just like what you said a while ago, they have a high tendency of picking a Super Marco hero in the 4 or 5 spot, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, it looks like they really didn't, they really haven't changed their tendency there. So they instead pick up now the Kimmy at the center of the map. So that's one of the top 3 traits that you have. That's the triangle of power in the mid lane. Juicin, Kimmy, Farsa, and then that's going to be that. Now, the fact that you have the Kimmy means you need a little bit more range. So let's see if Super Marco ends up with a Granger in the 4th pick. You deny OHEP that. But then at the same time, they can float around the idea of them picking the Harith in red 4. So let's see if there's going to be a trade there. But if that happens, you also still have an Esmeralda open, actually, that Liquid could go for. An Esmeralda can still even go into the gold lane if Falcons decides to go Harith red 4. So this is one of the toughest parts about drafting right now, post-Project Next, the flexibility that fighter gold lanes bring you.
Look at Aurora scouting competition right away. They're not even going to see them in the upper bracket finals until the upper bracket finals. But hey, I think from what I picked up from you, the Esmeralda was there, quite removed immediately. Same goes for the Lapu-Lapu. At this point, Team Liquid Philippines and Team Falcons are removing any sort of fighter opportunity. So there is a possible chance that we get to see something more, something even, you know, flexed
such as the fighters. I think for Eman back in BTR, we've seen an export, gold laner from him. Even a Cho fighter is a possibility as well.
Yeah, and Cho gold lane is a high possibility now.
Oh, yeah.
So they ban out the Harith Team Falcons. They're setting themselves up for a Granger pick. But then the usual response of the Granger in the Irithel is still open. But I wouldn't like the damage profile that Liquid will end up with. If Super Marco and Falcon shows his pick at a red 4, Liquid can honestly just go Cho gold lane. They can go Ruby gold lane and they'll be okay. I'll lean a little bit more towards the Cho, however, considering that if they go with the Ruby, they might just be susceptible to a tectonic charge from a Grok. So Liquid take out a comfort pick from Flap TZ, from the Uranus. But this sets up for potentially just locking in a Phoveus right away.
Love TZ has a tendency of being one annoying XP laner if you're going up against him. So for TLPH, they're trying to remove the Esmeralda and the Uranus just to be able to take control in the charge, which, by the way, was also a Lapu-Lapu that was removed from Flop TZ, because this is also one of those heroes that he has utilized from time and time again, especially with their recent matches all over the regular season. So if you are Flop TZ, you're going to have to pick your hero right away, and that is going to be the Alice.
Okay, so in terms of the damage profile of Team Liquid, is actually not looking good for them. With the Alice already locked in, with the Harith gone, Liquid might have to settle for a Granger for Oheb. They can't go Fighter. If they go Ruby, Alice will be happy. Alice does not care about that matchup. If they go Cho, that might be the difference maker. If they go for the fighter style Cho, maximizing cooldown reduction, the moment you see the Alice, kick her back even further, see if you can take her down before the other members of Falcons get to help Flap TZ out. But again, the problem is not enough damage unless Liquid show a different gold laner that can just burst and pop heads.
And so far, it's quite easy to get access to the backlines of DLPH just by having that Alice on their side. So for the engage, this is going to be a problem, and there you go. They picked up the Ruby. They're taking the risk here. I'm talking about TLPH and the Yuzhong. We have not seen you in forever, my guy. Welcome back.
One of the picks that puts Sanford in the map globally.
If not the pick.
If not the pick alongside the Lapu-Lapu. He's either the dragon or the legendary man from Mactan, Cebu.
Oh, yeah.
So, Marco, what are you going to end up with now at this point? Because look, Liquid has gone full into the YSS.
Full engaged, dude.
Are they going to go double fighter as well? And just put all the resources into the hands of Few and Lancelot?
That's a pretty tough question to ask in Team Falcons. They're trying to figure it out, but now they go with the Claude. It's a hero that has been used by Super Marco, but they're not gonna fight Team Liquid Philippines in their very own game that they want to play here. They want to try to scale a little bit further, just so they can have enough damage to make this happen. But for Cuneta Astrodome and for people watching at home, this is the clash of the Titans, the final clash. Every game feels like their first game, because at this point, if you want to be able to make it into the top 4, you're going to be facing a familiar foe, and we're looking at the lineups right now. It's a mix of old and new strategies for both of these teams.
Whoever rotates faster is going to win this game. Ogwen needs to be locked in here alongside Few. Falcons, they cannot allow Team Liquid Philippines to build a very quick lead. That is a Yuzhong with a Petrify that could even mess up the entry of a Claude. As this game extends, Super Marco might be wondering, wait, I have damage, I have my items. Liquid can just build up a bunch of blade armors, but Falcons, that Alice is gonna be their main centerpiece to ensure that the Claude, the Kimmy, and the Lancelot have the time and the space to deal a damage. But they will get to that point only if Ogwen and Few get their rotations right alongside Kyle TZ. They have to win Turtle 1, they have to win Lord 1.
I mean, honestly, you're talking about Few right before the start of the matchup, as they were being asked to step up quite, not even in a gradual manner. He has to step up big time, make sure that he evades a lot of deaths that would usually happen in like the minute 5 or minute 7 of the match. But for Flap TZ, he's been doing this with all of the other heroes, such as the Esmeralda and the Uranus as well. If he wants to at least annoy the rest of the members of Team Liquid Philippines, then that should be the route for them here in game number 1. It's quite a packed audience that we have right here at Cuneta Astrodome, and everybody at a weekday weekday, Renmar.
Yeah.
A weekday, we are stacked right over here. Lots of familiar faces that we saw before the start of this game. And at this point, I am with you, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot wait to get this show started.
It feels like mid-December 2023.
Oh, wow.
It reminds me so much of the
Our
Rizal
voices ran
Memorial
out.
Stadium.
Our voices ran out during that time.
Our voices ran out during that time.
There were tears dropping too.
Yeah, how people are seated right now, the arena we find ourselves in. I wonder if there's a bit of familiarity and a bit of a reminder for the members of Team Falcons, who at that time were the members of AP Bren when
Yep.
they became the first team ever to not only win in home soil, but the org to become the first ever two-time world champions. But Team Liquid, Cavalry is outnumbering the Green Falcons. And Liquid have, I gotta admit, man, a slightly scarier lineup. But my mind keeps going back to, can they actually have the answer for the Alice?
Yeah.
And I think one of the questions we have to ask is, what the hell are Sanford and OHEB going to build? Are they going to go for the hybrid? Are they going to go fighter tank? Are one of them going to build a little bit more physical penetration to actually give that Alice some hard time? Because you're going to have to mix some dominance, ISIS, and Sea Halberds in there.
I mean, for the side of Team Falcons, I think their main ace is obviously going to be Flaptizi with that extra sustain. The setup is going to be immaculate towards getting them to a possible comeback, because they're going to have to wait for Super Marco. Let's be real of that. It's the timing that is quite an occurrence here for the side of Team Falcons. If they can at least provide a good situation for Super Marco to scale and get a lot of damage early on, or maybe even in the mid stages, then that could help them a ton in game number 1. But the challenge is for, Ogwen and Few, even the trio mid position for the side of Team Falcons to be able to at least get some smooth objectives heading into the map. Because if you're looking at Team Liquid Philippines, they kind of have everything figured out. They have a good amount of crowd control, even have a decent amount of damage, and at this point, all they need is perfect execution to be able to take this game 1.
Yeah, actually, Team Liquid Philippines, with how you mentioned that, once we get into the team fight, their lineup might actually be the one easier to pull off, because one of your main damage carries in the Yi Sun Shin is happy just staying in the back, allowing the Sanford, Yuzong, and the OHEB Ruby to front for you, deal a lot of the initial damage, and then Carl Tees is just going to come in to finish the job. Well, for Team Falcons Philippines, Super Marco's timing here needs to be really good, because as we mentioned earlier, with all of the crowd control that you pointed out that Team Liquid Philippines has, the fact again that there's a Petrify for the Yuzong, a second skill, a very quick one from the Ruby, might just mess up the entry of a Claude after a BMI. Even though he'll pop the Purify and have the CC immunity, it's still a tough task for Super Marco to be able to find the right time to actually enter with the Blazing Duet Ultimate.
And not to mention that there are also some early invasions toward that gold lane matchup. So both Super Marco and OHEB, who has been victim to a lot of those early invades in previous matches that we've had before, they need to take better care, better communication at this point. And for Team Falcons, I gotta say that, Kyle TC has been pulling off some quite insane mechanics towards Carl TC, but for the GOAT himself, I mean, he said it during the interview, right? He knows how to beat this team right over here. They have a lot of support for both of these teams, and it's just gonna be a matter of time to see this matchup and how it's gonna be going. So I think for all of the people, especially for Onyx Philippines, the matter at hand is how they would be able to initiate. But you're looking at the start, the beginning of a possible end for at least one of these two teams. The question is, who or which Titan will be able to get over the wall and make it to top 4, Renmar? What a moment that we are heading into.
Falcons, Liquid, the legend of Titans unfolding before us, mythical and immortal. At this point, the opening matchup of the Season 16 playoffs, it's them again. And I was seeing the discussions online with how seems to be a curse for Carl TZ. And a lot of that curse seems to involve Few.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, but then Few's also looking at Carl. It's like, we haven't beat you guys in playoffs in a long while. In MPL PH, we may have won against you internationally, but not in home soil. So that big question is hanging above their heads.
Renmar, I was at the front row, right? I was trying to talk to
both Carl Tizzy and Few because they were sitting beside each other. So Few was giving high fives to the other people. And then as soon as he sat with Carl Tizzy, he was like, yo, Carl, you gotta give this to us, man. Yeah. You have a lot of championships already. And then Carl was like, I'm quite unlucky because this is an even-numbered season. He's talking about season 16.
Yeah.
And that's been the pattern for quite some time. You know, we were looking at season 10, 12, and 14. It has not went the way Team Liquid wanted it to because they were experiencing some first-round exits.
Yeah.
But for Team Falcons, this is obviously a moment for them to build up on the momentum that they have manifested all towards week 7 to week 8.
Yeah. Thank you all for your patience. As you see, our marshals are working hard to ensure that it's an even playing field for our two teams. With this historic matchup, as we're waiting for it to unfold, we're just making sure that everything is set up perfectly for them. Troubleshooting some things, but we appreciate you for sticking out with us. We are just as excited and hungry and salivating for this game number 1 to begin. We just want to make sure that everything is good for our players.
I mean, at this point, if you want to look at some of the players here, they are laser focused, locked in, also waiting for their moment to shine. And you can say the same thing for the rest of the fans that are here who have been waiting outside, obviously looking for a chance to showcase their support for the rest of the teams that is here. It's a battle between green and blue. It has always been a clash of the Titans ever since season 13. And now is the time to showcase what these Titans can do. Nice one, Leo. You got this, Nice.
For breaking this one down. It's a battle of the Titans ahead of us, guys. We're just minutes away, or maybe seconds away, to jump into the game here, but I do have to say this, man. It is electrifying here for day 1 of our playoffs. Leo, who knew that we'd get this matchup to kick it off for our playoffs?
You know who knew?
Who knew?
I knew.
Oh.
Come on, we're talking about the premier esports league in the country, if not the region. And you can see that the super fans came in droves, filling Cuneta Astrodome up to capacity on a weekday. It's a random Wednesday in the Philippines, man.
Hey, it's not a random Wednesday anymore. It's a Wednesday where the Titans are clashing.
It's day 1 of the playoffs.
Day 1 of the playoffs. And, you know, while we wait to go ahead and jump into the game here, there's a couple things that we have to remember and just how crucial this one is. Again, we've got, by the end of today, 2 teams leaving the playoffs here. I mean, this is an electrifying thing because you have to remember, too, how big it was for the Falcons to even make the playoffs, man. I mean, for a lot of people, myself included, actually. I'm gonna throw myself in that basket. I didn't know if the Falcons would actually make it to the playoffs.
Hey, there was this young man who screamed, "The miracle of season 16."
Sounds familiar. I think I'm looking at him.
You are deep into his eyes. But yeah, no, again, that was the exclamation point to end the regular season. And I'll tell you now, I don't think 10 days was enough to buy us time to recover and to comprehend, to digest exactly what went down. So folks, we'd like to thank you, whether you're here with us in the Cuneta Astrodome in the middle of Pasay City, Philippines, or if you are with us online from all around the world. I'm talking to you, Wagner. I'm talking to you, Trex.
You're talking to everybody. Hey, we got a whole list of restreamers out there, and some of our bestest friends are currently restreaming out there.
Salamat malam to all y'all watching from Jakarta, Indonesia. That's right. I see you, Mirko.
Hey, now you guys see us. Welcome to the desk here. You're actually going to be seeing me, Naisu, and Leo to paint your guys' picture, I would say, for this one. Because right now, the panel, they've told us all the storyline leading into this, you know, and I think, again, both of our teams are getting things kind of smoothed out here. Again, we want to make sure that for as crucial of a match as this one is for the Titans here, we want to make sure they have the best playing field for the matchup ahead of them. Because, again, you got 5 games, man. 5 games, one of these teams, it's either going to be a massive, I would say, upset, or it's going to be where a lot of people were thinking was going to happen if TLPH takes it. But before that, before we jump into the game, guys, we are going to be taking a break so they settle everything out. So sit tight. We'll be back after this.
ब्रेक शुरू हो गया क्या खयो अन्त के ढिलो MPL PH
The Unli with Smart Power All 99. Hindi bitin with 10 gig data to power your games plus Unli Facebook or Unli TikTok. Load now.
Minutes. A lot of watch parties happening on MPL page. Everyone is interested.
Scalp can get up to 5 times more dandruff? Get triple anti-dandruff power. Supercharge with Clear. Hello guys, welcome. Who are you supporting? I'm supporting Falcons.
Ito na ang pinaka-inaantay na selebrasyon. Excited na si Bibi! Marami pa siyang kailangan gawin para maging ready ang lahat.
Bibi, huwag masyadong tense. Focus. Bibi ka ba? Gatot kacha? Need help? Infection!
Wala ako.
Ito na lang.
Wag na! Please, ibalik niyo na ako sa base! Wag!
So there's a team sa kanila, okay?
Hello? Ising Bruno!
Okay na ako, Bibi. Let's go! Asikasong tunay si Bibi. Tumulong sa heroes, nag-set up ng event. Kahit koryo, hindi niya pinalagpas. Magsisimula na ang pinaka-inaabangang performance of their lifetime. Pwede nang huminga ng malalim si Bibi. Pero teka, tinatawag ata si Bibi sa stage.
Let's go.
And welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, here on the English desk, we are just moments away from jumping into Game 1 of our first best of 5 for the playoffs here. Once again, I'm Naisu. This is Leo. Earlier, you were joined by the panel from Hans and Renmar, and we can't wait to get this Clash of the Titans started, man.
I understand why we're taking all this while to prepare. Again, momentum is key. When you've played and competed with such a fated rival, a true equal, such as these Titans do, all around the world, you want to make sure that you get off on the right foot, and you can only do that once. Game 1.
Game 1, and you only have potentially 5 games, to make that happen, because I gotta say, man, you are facing elimination here in this one, and I think for a lot of people, if you guys missed it during the panel section, there was a lot of great information there. One of the great things that they talked about is both the teams, TLPH and Falcons, dude, they're against the odds. Like, for them individually. What we mean by that is Team Falcons, they're, 0-5 against TLPH in terms of playoff matches? And then for TLPH, they haven't, or they always got knocked out in play-ins. If I remember right, it was odd seasons. Wait, am I getting my math mixed
Even
up?
is bad for Liquid.
Even is bad. And we're in an even season right now, 16. That's not where you want to be, man.
And whether it comes down to science or faith, both teams have many reasons to look at this matchup and say, yo, we can't do it. But with the Cavalry and the Green Falcons behind them, respectively, if in case you guys did not know, they have come in droves. During the break, we witnessed a, how would you call it, a chant battle?
It was a chant battle.
It was a chant battle, and I got the goosies.
Who had the better chant? I'm going to have to say, I think for most people, if they've watched Team Liquid play, they're able to go ahead and say, like, man, this chant, I don't know if, and I want to say that for a lot of the teams out there, I don't know if there's a better chant than let's go Liquid, let's go Liquid.
I'll give you Green
Falcons
they got heart.
They got heart. Okay, well, this is what we were talking about too. Over on the panel earlier, 3rd seed versus 6th seed MPL Philippines history. Let's take a look at this. There's a whole lot of information here. 2 out of the 7 times, 29% win rate, that the 6th seed won versus the 3rd seed in MPL Philippine playoffs. That was season 9, the play-ins, where Omega swept Echo.
So 3 out of 10 times. Just doing the math, upping the fraction so people understand more.
Yep.
In season 14, it happened as well. Blacklist beat Omega, who was currently then 3rd seed. This was season 14. No 6th seed team has ever won the MPL PH championship, but they have come close. In season 9, when RSG PH won,
that's true,
Omega took them to the limit, and Omega started that playoffs in 6th seed.
So if you look at stats like this, what do you think? Because we've been talking about how this season is like, I think collectively people would say the most competitive season.
Yep.
I would say that there is a potential that Falcons does what Omega did in season 9.
Yeah, because no 3rd seed team has ever won the MPL PH championship, and that's where Liquid is. So you count up all of the factors, and then you also consider Falcons, then known as AP Bren, this same squad. They're known to break curses. They don't like them bad juju. They don't care. You know how no team has ever won a world championship in home soil?
Or twice.
Yeah. Falcons looked at that and said, yeah, we don't care.
Hold my protein shake. Basically, if we saw all the flexing that was done by Flap earlier on. Also, by the way, just so you guys, if you missed it during the draft while we wait to jump into the game, we are going to go into Broken Walls for our Game 1 here.
Yep.
You can see how this is panned out in Season 16. We've had 13 games. There was an average game time of 16 and a half. Average kills, 22. There's a 1.34 kills per minute here, but also the draft. If you look at a lot of the heroes that have popped up here, I would say the only one that we're really seeing is the Juice and the Kimmy. Those are both in the game, but that's it for the first draft that we're going into Game 1.
Everyone else has either been banned. Yishin Shin is in this one too.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, picked by Team Liquid on the 2-3 swing on blue. Something to note, it's become a vernacular, universally. Started, I think, in MPL Indonesia, wherein Broken Walls is considered the neutral map.
It's the neutral one?
It's the map that least affects drafting and maybe to some level gameplay, because really what it does is it allows for certain movements or rotations to happen easier, and to make that lore dance a little simpler because you can also attack it from the back.
Yeah.
So that explains why these numbers, they seem relatively mundane. I'm talking about game time, like 16 and a half minutes. Like, come on, like that's pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
Average kills, talking about PH,
Yep.
22. Split it between 12 for the winner, 10 for the... You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's very neutral.
I would say, though, like, broken walls, in that sense, it's like, I have yet to get that bucket list hero yet, and that's the Johnson, man. I'm really hoping that at some point, I don't know if that'll happen in the playoffs, I just think it's, maybe it's too risky.
It is too risky.
It's way too risky, but,
when you get a Johnson, you want something else to go with it that clearly calls for the Johnson.
An Odette. What else?
Bane, oh my God.
Oh my goodness, imagine Bane riding on the Johnson.
Because, folks, something that's happening with the Bane now is this was made popular by SRG OG's Innocent.
Yep.
He spoke very publicly about, oh yeah, I've been practicing to make that flicker deadly catch a thing. And we've seen many a gold laner here in the Philippines try that. Imagine that, but without the flicker and just a straight up hop out of a moving car.
It just works for him. But I think, too, the most time that we've seen that, and maybe Bane is still going to be one of those, because he kind of like towards the end of the regular season, he kind of like fell off a little bit. Like he was still picked up, but and banned. But I think even maybe now, the 10 days of the time that we've had here, teams have actually figured out a way to deal with the Bane. He's still super strong. I'm not sure if he's going to go through changes, but also he's popped up more, maybe on the Expanding Rivers map, I think, just because he's able to rotate so quickly.
Allows for a double laning for such an immobile hero.
Yeah, Marco, do it. I think he was one of the first ones to go ahead and showcase that in the regular season.
Him or Kelra.
Him or Kelra. That's just one of the heroes, though, that I feel like is going to be a topic of discussion as we get through the playoffs here. And even so, I think when we got towards the regular season, man, the jungle itself had changed a little bit. Now, in terms of these two teams, TLPH, Carl TZ still mostly picking the heroes he's known for. If he gets his hands on the Lancelot, he'll pick it. The YSS was picked up here in this match. But Fredrin, both these jungles can play the utility if they want to. And I think that's one of the big factors here as we get through the series is what is that jungle going to look like, and where's that pressure point for either of these teams going to be?
Yeah, I think Renmar spelled it out best. He came to a conclusion this morning as we rolled up into the Conetta Astro room. He said, yo, y'all notice Carl TZ and Kyle TZ are the only two junglers in MPL Philippines, maybe more specifically in the playoffs, that have the same exact hero pool. So what Kyle does, Carl can as well, which again makes that blue 2-3 Yisun Shin a huge question mark for me because, sure, Kyle TZ has a 62% win rate.
Yeah.
But you've seen what Kyle can do with a Yisun Shin, especially in the later half of the playoffs where they made that Hail Mary play.
Yep.
The run for playoffs, run for 6. Why would they go to the Lancelot for the red 1-2? When we know, you know what I mean? Like that's something that's been bothering me ever since the draft has elapsed.
And that's why, we can't wait to see it in game, in action. But that's definitely one thing that I'll say is, I don't know if it's a TZ thing, man. I don't know. Because, Kyle TZ, when he was introduced into the league, it was clear, he had his, Carl TZ was, let's be honest, he's a big inspiration for a lot of junglers out there. But, there was a thing where it's like, a lot of people would say, they would look at these new junglers come in when they had their debut seasons into the professional scene, and they'd be like, how do they fare up against the best junglers in the league? And Carl TZ is that jungler, and I feel like, even down to the hero pool, down to the rotations, down to just about almost a lot of the stats here for both of them, it almost looks very similar between the two, and that's why I think, then you have to start to look at the team as a whole, right? Like where does Sanford, for example, fit versus Flap TZ? And even then, we saw a little bit of different iterations from Falcons from the regular season where they switched up the XP lane.
Yep, there were some bouts in their run, I'd say a good quarter, wherein it was Ferds playing.
Yep.
But again, towards their hopes to make it into the playoffs, they locked in on Flap and said, you know what, Charles David, we were sorry it took us a while, but here we are. Ferds, you take the bench, support us from afar, let the two-time world champion take care of business.
Two-time.
Now that you mention it, Kyle and Carl, that's a whole nother discussion. The XP lane, though, between Sanford and Flap TZ, if you would create a Venn diagram between the two, I'd say there would be more voids in that one because going into game 1, folks, in case you didn't know, the Yu Zhong has reared its, I don't say ugly head, but
his beautiful dragon head.
He's here. He's here. And he is a scary early game hero.
Yeah.
I'm worried for Falcons. I'm scared for Falcons. They drafted a Claude. Red 5, they drafted a Claude.
And he's running he's got the Petrify.
He's got the Petrify.
So got the Petrify.
That's already one way to pop that Purify.
It's weird because there was a time when it really felt like Yu Zhong fell off. Like, he disappeared, man. He like black dragon formed out of the game.
Skedaddled.
And then now he's back, you know, and I think that's something that a lot of people have been wanting to see because he's popped up here and there, even in the other regions. But we'll have to see it play out when we get there. We do have an interview, though. We're going to be throwing it over to our host, Almira, for an interview here.
Yes, welcome back! Hello!
Hello,
Hi,
Almira.
Mark. Welcome to MPL Philippines.
Thank you for having me, MPL. Thank you.
So, how do you feel? Like, kamusta ba ang experience mo dito sa MPL Arena?
Ayun, I'm excited to watch the first game. It's my first time in experiencing like a tournament this huge. So, yun, I'm glad that MPL invited me. Very thank you, Bench.
Alright, so you'll be performing later, right?
Yes, yes.
So, can you tell us more about the song, the story behind it?
Okay, so I'm performing my debut single later called Shake That Thing, out tomorrow, October 23. It's about having fun. It's about having fun. Shake that thing.
Shake that thing.
Yeah,
I love the
shake
title.
that thing. Yeah.
So can you tell us more about the story behind it?
It's just about having fun, and you want to dance. If you want to dance, you just shake that thing. Yeah.
Can you like give us a little sample? A little? It's for later.
I can give a little like shake, shake, shake that thing, baby. Shake, shake, shake that thing.
Pasok na pasok sa Gen Z. So, can you tell us, could you invite your fans to...
Yeah. You can follow me on everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, BARQBOY, Bark Boy, there, everywhere, Bark Boy.
Bark Boy. So, once again, thank you so much, Bark. And let's give him a big round of applause. Back to you guys, casters.
Thank you, Almira. Thank you, Bark. I'm ready to shake that thing, bro.
Shake, shake, shake that thing, baby, shake. Dude, I can't wait for that single to come out again. It comes out tomorrow, and we get a
sneak peek.
We get a sneak peek live.
Yeah, I can't miss that. I don't know when it's going to be, but...
No way I'm going to miss that. Better not come during... No, it's part of the show, so...
It's part of the show, so... Wait, are we going to be... Will the audience get to see it then, too?
I'm going to unplug. I'm going to unplug and just listen in. I'm gonna take a seat up front.
Hey, I hope we get a chance to go ahead and tune into that. But, you know, again, shout out to Bark. Great to have him here. Yeah, at Bark Boy. Check him out on his socials, even for our international audience out there. If you guys want to go ahead and check that out and shake your thing.
That's OPM, Original Pinoy Music.
Original Pinoy Music, OPM. Man, what? That's what it stands for.
Yep.
I've always wondered.
TIL, OPM.
Today I learned, you know, but yeah, to catch everybody up, I think I'm trying to peek over there. At this point, I'm trying to look over there, man. I think they're still getting things situated. It looks like, you know, we're getting closer there. But I gotta say, what a crowd. They won.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, like, did you expect this?
I did. I told you, man. I know that the Cavaliers and the Green Falcons are devoted fans.
Yeah.
Possibly, because I'll tell you, they're international fans, man.
That's true.
Liquid is possibly one of the oldest esports franchises and organizations in the history of the game, right?
Yep.
Or of the world. And then you're looking at Falcons, dude. They are a global brand.
They are. So they're both. I mean, technically, yeah, that adds to the whole Titan aspect.
Yeah.
Like,
even before, you know what I mean? Like, when... Dude, that moment in Kazakhstan when someone walked up to me and say, "Hey, there's the Titans of Mlbb." I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, but
was that like a whoa moment? Like being in Kazakhstan? Was it Kazakhstan?
It was, yeah. I can't tell you how magical it was until it was over. Like, I look back at it now at fondness.
Yeah.
These two teams were there and they were playing, and it was again a 10-15 second moment where someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, they're the Titans of MLBB, and I'm like, yeah, they were. And it only dawned on me how important that moment was.
Yeah.
When I got home, and here's back, right here, right now.
You know, I'd love to. Hey, I know we didn't get to have a community poll here today, but I'd love to actually know what the community thought. Like, if you guys are out there in the chat too, like, would they? The question put out to them.
Yes or no?
Would they still consider Falcons, Titans? That was the question. That was the epic take.
Is it just Falcons or both of them?
Both, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Let's say both. Are they still both TLPH and Team Falcons? Are they both considered Titans still in this new era?
For those of y'all who say no, I want to hear why. Because just because Falcons struggled in the regular season doesn't mean, well, I don't know. I want you to explain to me. Quantify and qualify why you think they're not anymore. Because look back at the history of the league. They've always been the gateway to these big international events. Who ends up in the best of 7 in the lower bracket?
Team Falcons.
Exactly. Up until now, we can't say they didn't do it until they get eliminated today, or until they get eliminated the next day. You know what I mean? Like, they can always find a way to get there.
And that's what I'm saying. I would have never guessed that, you know, if we rolled it back like 10 weeks, well, yeah, about 10 weeks at the beginning of the season, if we rewound, I didn't think that day one, match one for the playoffs would be this, like the Titan matchup.
Yeah, people would have counted Falcons out and said, yeah, it's Omega, Rapey, Bren, whatever.
Dude, I think a lot of people were already counting them out, like week 5, week 6. People didn't, like, I was constantly asked about Falcons.
I have a confession to make.
Yes, you did.
A part of me accepted that. I made peace with that.
I think, like, but
I was ready to console Mimi at home saying, baby, they'll get him next time.
Is she a fan? She a Falcon?
She is. This is her team.
Who's your team? I mean, I've been very vocal about who my team was.
Is.
I say was because they were members of my former all-time favorite, Raiders, RSG. Now they're a part of Aurora. You know? So, how about you, man? Do you throw it out there like who you have a favorite?
That is like asking a father who their favorite child is. You just don't.
You just don't?
Because that's how I look at all these teams, man.
They're all your kids.
I've had a personal relationship with almost all of them.
Yep.
Scratch that, all of them.
Yeah.
And I hold all of them dear to my heart. And I base my predictions and how I speak of them on their performance in the season. So just because I predicted a team to lose doesn't mean I don't look at them with the same kind of love as I did when they were champions.
Gotcha. So it's a per season thing.
It's a per season thing. It's a performance thing. You know? It's a It's a meritocracy up in this.
It's a what?
A meritocracy.
A meritocracy. Yep. There's a word I've never heard, man.
Yep. You are evaluated and judged based on your performance and your achievement.
Okay, I'm half American and I've never heard that word.
I am 0% American. People are shocked when I speak full Tagalog. You say, "Oh, Leo's a Filipino."
Wow, you're a Filipino?
Wow.
Hey, they're just as surprised as I am when I do that. What's this, by the way? Happy birthday.
Birthday.
Is that him there? Is he there? Hey, happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday. Despite your friends making fun of you, putting your face on a poster that looks like you passed.
Yeah, man, the crowd is, they're ready. I wonder if they all got to enjoy the Superfan City out there, too.
Have you seen the Superfan City?
I have, man, and...
Superfan City!
I said it wrong. I'm supposed to say it like that. Superfan City!
Yeah, you are.
It's like satay, but satay.
Yeah, that's where these people came from.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff for you guys to go ahead and do in the
Freebies everywhere.
Freebies, games to play. I mean...
Go look for where you can get Kaio x Mlbb trading cards.
Oh, no.
Yes, sir.
Wait, are they actually for sale during They are?
They are.
Okay.
Go look for where you can buy the Kaio x Mlbb trading cards. You can grab a pack for about 59 pesos. That's just north of $1.
North of $1.
For 5 cards each pack, you could crack the ultra rares.
I'll have you guys know, by the way, that those are brand new cards. Some of the designs are amazing,
by the way. It's a hot drop first. You can get them first here in Southeast Asia.
And then bring them home. Like, you know, I'll tell you what, there's one card that, maybe two. There's 2 cards that I desperately want. I haven't opened my packs yet. I'm going to wait a little bit, you know, but I'm definitely after number 1, the Bedeck, which you got. You got.
You're going to trade for that?
I might have to go to the trading route for you, man. And number 2, number 1 for me. the Alice, man.
You want that Alice?
I want that Alice.
If I crack that Alice,
then you have 2 cards
then
that I
we're
want.
going to have a conversation. That's going to be a long negotiation, Joseph. All right.
Okay, hey. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to be jumping right into the game. I know it took a little bit. Thanks for being patient. The players are ready. And hopefully we have a smooth route from here. Once again, it's a best of 5 between the Titans, Team Liquid Philippines, and Team Falcons in this best of 5 elimination match, first day of playoffs. Let's take a look at the emblems here.
So far, nothing out of the ordinary. I'm looking at that Alice. It's on full tank mode.
Yep.
And then you're looking at Sanford. You see him rock that Rupture. So he really wants to dig into that early game advantage that Yu Zhong has. This is a debut pick, by the way. I can't believe it's been a while. It's taken this long. Sanford is the Yu Zhong of not just MLBB, of not MPL, of all MLBB.
I was going to say he is him at this point. I mean, for a lot of people, if it was your first time watching, Sanford play the Yu Zhong just a couple years ago, was it? He had an amazing performance on it, and it's one of those heroes that did take some time off in our current meta, but it's still as deadly. I think some people, even in their own games, forgot, man, just how much Yu Zhong can hurt with the shot essence and everything else.
Oh,
mid lane.
Few gets launched up, jumps on his own volition, dropping a bit of damage. I don't think that's a fight they want to take.
Okay, so they do get a battle spell out. Sanji had to burn the flicker, so that can still be a bit of a win there. A minor one. Sanford also used that Petrify earlier on, while Flap had to burn his flicker. So
we missed that little tango.
Yeah, we missed it, but this is one of those things that we kind of expect with these kind of lineups, man. Especially for Team Falcons, they're going to have to build up. Like, this is going to have to cook a little bit. Turtle's already started up.
Aggressive start for Liquid. Black Dragon form thrown out, plus the Mountain Shocker. Falcons ain't going to have nothing on that one. Turtle over to the Cavalry.
Timing in favor of Team Liquid Philippines there. Fast start on the Turtle. They knew that these level 4s for Team Falcons are crucial for them. I mean, you're talking about the Kimmy, the Grok. Those are crucial ultimates that are needed. There's an Unbreakable, but it is on Ogwin, so he's going to be fine for that. Ooh. But, Team Falcons now, I'd say they're in a position to go ahead and fight. If they want to choose a fight, they can take it on any of these lanes.
Uh-oh. Kaltizi finds Daddy JP, puts him to a third of his health. The patriarch of Liquid is fine. Down bottom, Flapteezy dueling against Sanford, gets the advantage. If Sanford on the Yu Zhong is an early game threat, I think Flapteezy with the rework on Alice is just as bad. She's basically a sexier Uranus.
Hey, she could cosplay at that point. Actually, I think I'd rather see the cosplay.
Oh! Throw to ruin! Plus a tech charge! That's 2 kills, almost taking it mid! JP survives via the revitalize. You were saying?
I was saying, hey, what I was saying earlier is that as a level 4 is available, they'll pick a lane and they'll go for it. And that's what the tech charge was, man. Forget what I was saying about Alice cosplay, but hey, I'll tell you what, that's a move they can do time and time again in the mid lane.
You know what? It's the first time I've ever seen a Throne of Ruin charge that way.
Yeah.
Like you do it from afar and then you throw out that gleam, shadow in, and then you pop them.
This is something
you can't do that with Uranus.
You can't. He's a lot more like, here I am. There's not much of a...
He announces himself.
There's not much of a surprise factor when it's Uranus, at least with Alice. But that's why the Alice has worked so well. Think about it. When she was available, was it week 6? She wasn't picked up too much, maybe 1 or 2 times.
Yep.
And then as the season went on and we got closer towards the end of the regular season, she was up in almost every game or banned.
I think this is the kind of Alice teams we're seeing in the scrims.
Yeah.
So now we've unlocked it. Now we know what it's like. Turtle spawns in the upper quarter. Not as early a start for Liquid. I think they're heeding what Falcons can throw at him.
Yeah, they're going to wait for Sanford to make his way up. He does have that Dragon Form and the Petrify. Mount Shocker's going to be used, but they want a full fight for this.
And Ogwin does come in once more with the tech charge. Easy with a secure and a big knockup. Ogwin falls. Kyle as well. Liquid clap back. They want to take down Few. He flickers out, but falls just as quickly. 3 for none plus the Turtle. They want Flap. They don't gonna get him. In comes Sanji. The chef do be cooking, and it's spicy, baby. They do find Marco. Sanji's shaking that thing.
Shaking that thing. What a play for TL PH. I mean, it looks so good. Leo for Team Falcons on the setup with a tech charge and everything else, but then TLPH was like, nah, we'll take the turtle and all the kills, and we'll shake that thing in the middle of it.
Falcons wasn't ready. Folks, a quick look back at exactly what we mean by he is him. Sanford is currently number 1 ranked all time as the usual. 31 games under his belt. This being that.
Yeah.
Oh no, they catch Flap!
Oh, it works so good, Leo. The lanterns from this Jushin for Sanji into everything that TLPH has, whether it's Oheb on the Ruby. Oh, here's a jump.
JP synced up with Oheb. Marco with a point blank. BMI, what was he thinking?
He's not thinking about all the crowd control that's being thrown at him, man. I mean, it's tough to escape that. You actually mentioned this with a Claude earlier on when we were waiting to jump in the game. It's like, it's a Claude. You have what? A BMI plus the Purify. That's about all you have.
He had only one of those things.
He only had one of those at that moment. But even then, if he had both, the problem is TLPH has so much crowd control, so much CC that they can actually deal with anyone from Team Falcons.
Literally, they all have CC.
They all do.
So check how Marco is going to make the most of that. They're down 4K. Liquid can literally just, press down on that wound.
Oh man, this makes me almost worried that if Team Falcons forces a team fight into this third turtle, that the same thing might just happen here because they're losing that economy now. So TLPH will start up this turtle. They have complete control. They're going to go for Ogwin. He's got to defensively tech charge out. Few though, is he going to do anything?
They spot him and they compromise him, take him down as well. Slap easy, go into the back, thrown a ruin, no one home. Ogwin shambles, cracked in half. Marco with the defensive BMI. Flap easy falls. He's going to have the BMI on out of there just as quickly. The duet ain't going to hit no one. While Falcons are reeling, and they want to take down Kyle.
Oh, can they actually chase him down? He has the stacks here, but I think he's able to get away again. He is this Lancelot, but still, man, it's like TLPH can choose whatever they want and go for a team fight, even if it's extended. Because you look at this, where's that brunt of damage from Team Falcons going to come from? It's not enough yet. It's not online yet. Super Marco isn't there. He's still a ton of gold away from being online.
And Joseph, it's a very specific kind of damage.
Yes.
It is DOT, DPS at best. So they need Liquid to sit there, stand there and say, we won't fight back as much. But they won't have it. They are literally blitzkrieging. It's a Liquid stampede right now.
It is. You know what the problem is even if you want to wait, if you're Team Falcons, Team Liquid's not letting that happen. They have so many options. Even if it's just JP jumping in your back line to force a response, it's so difficult for Team Falcons to post up and be like, all right, let's play the defensive game here. Because now, I mean, talking about 8-11 into this game, they're down almost 8,000 gold. You know, in this situation with this kind of lineup, you don't really have much of a choice but just to kind of watch and hold on. Like, you've got to buckle up and hope that you even get to a late game.
Fortunately, Falcons does have decent wave clear. Looking at how Ogwin can actually put up a wall, delay waves, use that as a specific tool. Few with that good range. Tech charge. Oh, they're fighting back. Tech charge with the wall coming in, but they just get squished right there. That wall that Ogwin dropped. Flap is going to take it as well. 3-0. Liquid are almost 10K up. Joseph, this is painful to watch.
You see what I'm saying? If you decide to fight in your Team Falcons, TLPH will take it. Look at the burst damage they did to Ogwin, who's supposed to be the tanky guy.
Speaking to all the fight fans out there, this is literally a fighter who is down on the 6 to 12 position, punching up. You just don't.
You just can't.
You protect yourself.
You've got to gloves up. What is that? Was that what they're saying? Gloves up.
Put your gloves up.
Put your gloves up, man.
Cover up.
But Paquito's not in the game, so who's going to do that?
I was just about to get there. Ogwin can put up walls, control waves. Few can just pew away.
Yep.
Find a way to get Marco that farm he's looking for. Double lane while he can. Again, Liquid is going to freeze now. Look how they're barely touching these waves. They're waiting for this Lord timer. They want to time it exactly on the spawn. They want this Lord to come at 10:15, not 45.
Yep, there it is. So right there, Oheb will go ahead and finish that off. And mind you, they already got one of the holy shields down too. I'm not sure if they actually got mid. Yeah, no, mid's still fine. They got the tier 2 there and top, but they got got that Holy Shield down on the bottom side, so Team Falcons, you're looking at this. You're facing a 13-1 deficit, 10,000 gold. You know, where is this? Where is that hope? You were mentioned earlier that they could clear some of these waves out, but this is one of those things, man, again, where TLPH might just force this one in and punch it in for game one.
You know what? It's a stroke of mad and evil genius. Liquid may or may not have on purpose not pushed the tier 2s to further delay Falcons' wave clear and the resources. Because look, if the waves were coming in to actual inhibitors, it would be easier to get resources, right?
Yeah, they'd
but
be
if
able to
you
farm.
have tier 2s, it gets much harder. There goes the pulse, and there goes the tech charge. Oh, they're trying, but no, that he's not tough enough. He gets squashed that fast.
Again, they went for the initiation. Owen burning the flicker, tech charge, and to get nothing. Unfortunately, it's Flap that went down. Now sitting at 0-5 on this Alice. Not the game that Flap was looking for. Or Team Falcons. They might be facing a very difficult base to defend here as they push in TLPH with a massive lead and everything else. They're going to go.
They cracked the base down bottom. They cracked Marco, folded him in half, and there's just 3 defenders left. I don't think this is possible. I think Falcons might have to just recover from the back as the base is up next. Lord still standing. Team Liquid Philippines stampede through game 1.
Game 1. Reminding everybody what a Liquid Stampede is here for TLPH. So dominant already to start off the series. Showcasing that, yeah, they at least are here to still be claimed as Titans, to still push forward and break the curses that they've had for the even number seasons here. But Team Falcons, man, I don't know what happened there. Very rough game. Maybe, you know, they had the game plan to get to game 1, and you know, it took us a little bit to get there, and then it kind of fizzled out.
It was actually pretty tame up until Liquid said it's go time.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to look back at what time that exactly was. 4 minutes? 5 minutes?
Yeah.
They were aware. They knew that they were on a clock, and they followed that to a T.
It's unfortunate just that we couldn't see Team Falcons lineup actually come to fruition. Like there was a couple tech charges, man, but that was about it. You know, you get a tech charge in, but then you are actually just dying after that.
One amazing sequence.
One.
That's it.
And that's the troublesome part. If you have this kind of lineup, especially with a Claude in the gold lane, you have to be able to build up. You have to get to that point where you have your power spike on the Claude. But I gotta say, even that OHEB Ruby, man, it paid dividends from start to finish for TLPH's game plan here.
That's something I love about this metagame. OHEB on that Ruby was the stopper.
Yeah.
It was able to provide on so many different fronts what Falcons needed to be able to actually get their lineup going. He had CC, he had decent damage, he had great sustain, and his ult was off of a cooldown so quickly that Falcons never got away with anything.
Yeah, it was so good. Again, MVP performance for OHEB. We're going to have to go and have this broken down by our panel. Let's them take it away.
For starters, you can usually talk about a statement win, but in this game number 1, Team Liquid showed Team Falcons what a statement win looks like. They were being backed into a corner so hard that Team Falcons found it hard to even make their way back towards a potential comeback. I will introduce a terminology more commonly linked with another esports title of the shooter variety and adapted for MLBB. What Team Liquid Philippines ran here is a traditional GOATS lineup, except there's at least one more extra bit of damage. Everything the Team Liquid Philippines built was for the Yisun Shin. The Claude last pick that we mentioned did struggle because of all of the crowd control that Liquid has. After the initial pickoff that Falcons were able to get onto Sanji, the center of the map, Turtle 2 just became a massive nightmare for them because the moment they initiated, Liquid threw everything out. The unbreakable taunt of the Gata Kacha, the Petrify Furious Dive combination of the Yuzhong, the Don't Run Wolf King into the I'm Offended of OHEB's Ruby. That Falcons, even though, if you look at their lineup, cover Liquid
Liquids, you have what looks like a very solid bridge to the mid to the late game. You have the Alice and the Kimmy potentially to bridge on over for the Claude. But when you face a lineup that gets a massive win at Turtle 2, and they just completely take over your jungle after that, there's no coming back, bro.
We were talking about the Infinix keys to victory from a while ago, and Wolf highly emphasized on the Turtle not being taken by Team Liquid Philippines if Team Falcons would want to win. Unfortunately for them, it didn't go that way because of the early pressure that was done by the Cavalry from minute 1 up until the end of game number 1. We saw a lot more of those potential counterattacks that would have been done by Team Falcons, whereas they were able to take down a single player, thus having that 1 kill towards their team. But Team Liquid Philippines, they no longer waited for Super Marco to even scale up. Just like what you were saying a while ago, it reached the point where Super Marco's BMI wasn't even enough to evade so much of the crowd controls coming in from Team Liquid Philippines. And I highly also have to say that sure, Calteezy was staying alive for the majority of the matchup, but he couldn't eat. He wasn't allowed to get a lot more of those objectives. And if you're staying alive, but you're barely breathing, you can't really do a lot of things that you were supposed to do.
Yeah, undeniable. When you look at the Falcons lineup, okay, it looks like there's a bridge, but then it's also farm dependent. Alice farm dependent and lane matchup win dependent. Calteezy farm dependent. Super Marco farm dependent. Even the Kimmy farm dependent. And when that gets shut down, the farm and the flow for Falcons, again, way too difficult to come back. We mentioned Blade Armor. There's one on the Yuzong, one on the Gatotkacha, and then we mentioned Sea Halberds and Denials of the region. You had one placed on the Ruby after a Brute Force Breastplate build, after the War Axe from OHEB. So everything that we pointed out, from the item conditions to the conditions of how they are going to execute, Team Liquid got to take that. Falcons did not. So let's look again at the sequence. Starting with the laning phase, it seems like this Yuzong is now the response to the Alice EXP lane.
Right.
Because Flapteezy couldn't get a comfortable laning experience until Ogwen actually helped him clear his lane.
It matters so big. Yeah. In terms of level 1s to level 3s, because that is where Flapteezy could either make or break a potential lineup here. But going back to what you said, I think that Yuzong was like the icing on the cake here for the lineup of Team Liquid Philippines, just because of the fact that there was enough damage, enough initiation, and that's what ELPH wanted to go for.
Yeah, the fact that Sanford went for the fighter emblem set and then he built up Rupture as his first talent, it's massive. And you felt it immediately at Turtle 2. And again, the key condition earlier, as Wolf laid down the Infinix keys to victory via the Howl that you mentioned as well, deny the first Turtle. Falcons didn't even contest, but they made the right call after that. They found the gang into the mid lane.
Right.
They brought Sanji down a little bit, but then the Yuzong is the one that was left unchecked in that Turtle 2 fight. The BPI rich guy is not OHEB, he's the rich guy. It's Calteezy. GPM 900 for this Yisun Shin. This was a GOAT, protect the GOAT lineup that Team Liquid built, and they played it perfectly.
The interview is starting to make a lot of sense now, Renmar. There's a guy named Hans Galerio who was back then on the stage.
Yeah.
Calteezy just basically told him that we know how to beat Team Falcons, but I didn't expect with a week of preparation for them to be this dominant.
Yeah.
To think that they were able to put up a solid, an understatement of a win, a victory here in game number 1. I just wonder what's going on in the minds of Team Falcons, because they were being backed into a corner even during the draft. Because when we were looking at the potential, last pick coming in from Super Marco, we were thinking that he could possibly match the playstyle of OHEB by joining in a fighter gold lane. But that didn't really happen. Instead, they picked up a Claude, which, we were like, wait a minute. That's kind of sus.
Yeah, that was honestly the biggest head scratcher for me. I don't know if that was a player call of like, yo, Super Marco, get something that you're comfortable with in lane. We've mentioned this a lot throughout Season 16, that teams need to find a balance of getting a pick that should be good in lane for the laning experience, vis-a-vis how look at goods for the big picture. They needed more range. They didn't need a marksman that is going to dive into all of the crowd control dished out by Team Liquid Philippines. The Claude is a head scratcher. The Granger wasn't banned out. You can make an argument that what if Super Marco didn't want to play the Granger up against potentially the Ruby.
Right.
And even so, the Granger with having one dash and a bunch of mini dashes through the use of his ultimate might be not comfortable going up against the Yuzong and looking out for the Yuzong in the team fighting. I think they still should have gone for range. They should have gone for the Granger. Super Marco bit the bullet even more because he went for a dive heavy marksman.
I mean, if you are Super Marco, you're gonna have to at least engage. You were forced to engage in like the first 5 minutes, and that is not the best case scenario. Here's one for you.
Casters, at syempre marami tayong matututunan ngayon dito sa ating bagong segment, The More You Know. At nakita natin din sa ating first game na yung funnel strategy na gustong gawin ng side of Team Liquid Philippines ay napakaganda naman ng kanilang execution. Siguro ito na yung pwede nating ilista sa mga top games na pwede nating aralin at sabihin, ito ang meta ngayon, ito ang funnel strategy. And again, I want to use this term funnel strategy sparingly kasi parang hindi naman talaga yun yung way lang para dito. But this is a Sun Shin na carry strategy wherein meron tayong dalawang fighters doon sa side ng TLPH to make it so na yung jungler, yung fina-funnel ay makikita nating magiging effective. In fact, nakita natin sa game na to na meron 900 GPM si Carl TZ mainly because sa kanya napunta yung mga proper resources. Pero hindi ganun kadali. You still have to win your mid lane matchup. And usually, ang isang Grok na may kasamang Kimi ay mananalo laban sa isang Jushin. Ginalingan talaga ng side ng TLPH kaya naman nanalo pa rin sila dun sa mid lane Prayo. Eventually, ay nakita natin yung Yuzong na naging effective para sa TLPH. Important hero mula sa side ng TLPH dahil hindi natin siya nakita nung season 16. Pero yung efficiency ngayon ng TLPH ay lalong umangat. Makikita natin dun sa heroes nila na walang wins, kakaunti lamang kumpara sa mga other na teams out there na madaming mga tinatry na heroes pero natatalo din talaga. Ang pinagusto kong tignan nyo dito na statline natin bukod dun sa 8 wins nila sa Yeeson Chain at 7 wins sa Granger, yung 1 win nila sa napakadaming heroes. Kayo na bahalang bilangin kung ilan yan. Madami silang mga one-off heroes na merong 1 win agad. Ibig sabihin, napapaganan talaga nila. And interestingly, hindi pa sila nananalo sa Claude until this series na kinontra nga nila sa side ng Falcons. And when it comes to hero pool efficiency, 80.4%, 37 out of 46 heroes used by TLPH ay nanalo ng at least na 1 game. Kung ikukumpara natin yan sa hero pool efficiency naman ng side ng Falcons, mababa din talaga, 67%. Although 67% is technically a pretty high percentage kung application sa ibang games. Pero sa mga series katulad nito, wherein importante ang bawat game at pwede kang malaglag, hindi magandang odds ang 67% when you're trying to utilize new heroes. In fact, itong side ng Falcons, meron lang silang kakaunting mga heroes with 1 win and a lot of heroes without wins at all. Siguro dahil na rin yan sa naging regular season record ng side ng Team Falcons. Pero kailangan nating tandaan ang TLPH when it comes to their pocket strategies, maaasahan nga talaga. Napakaganda na ng kanilang performance at may expect natin na kapag meron silang gustong itry na gawin na gamitin ng mga heroes, napapagana talaga nila. Kaya naman talagang masarap ang pagkakapanalo dito ng side ng TLPH. Sa sarap panalo with Nor, masarap din ang magkaroon ng bagong kaalaman. Again, the more you know. Maraming salamat syempre sa pakikinig at meron pa tayong maraming mga laban sa ngayon. For now, bakit hindi natin ito ibalik sa ating mga panel?
Thanks again, Wolf. Again, that is the more you know. Yep. And unfortunately for Super Marco, it was a Super Marco Nor!
I did not see that coming, man. I did not expect that to come out of you.
It's quite unfortunate.
All right, I'll give you. You got me that. I got you earlier during the pre-show segment, so now you're gonna get me now. All right. To sum up very quickly what Wolf.
The second time.
You were what?
I felt like I was born the second time.
You felt like you were born the second time?
A second enlightenment, just because I got you.
Bro, you need more sources of happiness. If that's That's what's gonna make you happy. All right. By the way, we have the Alamat Awards coming up. It is back, and the question is, who will rise to become Legends of MPL Philippines season 16? The awarding is gonna happen on October 24th. That's just day 3 of the playoffs.
Yeah, day 3.
All right. I think we gotta sum up real quick what Wolf was mentioning.
Correct.
So the main point was to show off the hero efficiency between Falcons and Liquid, and that Liquid, because they actually have a big hero pool and they have more wins, it just shows that they are definitely more efficient with all of the strategies that they want to dish out. As per told, as we saw with the Yuzong coming out of nowhere with Oheb, Ruby, Gold Lane, Fighter Lane, that, well, it worked out. So now Falcons needs to show that they can match that efficiency. But of course, history in MPL Philippines Season 16, it's not really for them.
Yeah, I mean, history-wise, it isn't the case, but you can be part of history and still secure your playoffs ticket now as you head to the MPL PH website and join us at the Cuneta Astrodome for the MPL Philippines Season 16 playoffs. Building up on what you said as well, we're talking about an efficient lineup from Team Liquid Philippines because they were basing it a lot on wins, even though they have a very wide hero pool. For Team Falcons, there were times that they were trying to experiment, not even experiment, or at least just try something new, because obviously it's the MPL Philippines and you don't want to just be stagnant with your offense or what you want to do. But for them, it hasn't really worked out, just like what you said. So at this point in time, if they would want to get a victory, they have to reinvent themselves. They have to evolve in a sense that it would be a desirable victory for this team, because again, we've seen a lot of 0-1s based on the more you know coming in from a Wolf. But for Team Liquid Philippines, there were times that they had a lot of victories with some standard picks that they have had all throughout the season. So it's only going to be a matter of time as to how Coach Trevor is going to be catching up to this, because they only have like, what, 2 more chances to be able to do that. Yeah. Meanwhile, for Coach RC, you have at least 3 more. You have much more room for mistakes, less the pressure given that you got game number 1.
Yeah, Falcons needs to recalibrate, and they really need to accept that they can no longer just play so much for Super Marco. I know that majority of their season was built on the fact that Marco is happy, Falcons is happy. Yay, we made it to the playoffs, but now you're in the playoffs. How do you evolve? How have you changed in the past week and a half? Liquid has already shown that they're willing to bring Yuzong back into the EXP lane as an answer to the Alice. They're willing to put Oheb, the Filipino sniper, into the Filipino Red Riding Hood, getting the Ruby in his hands, and to re-strategize and say, let's protect the GOAT instead. Let's play for the Yisun Shin instead. But not to say that they're reducing firepower, man. Yeah. They have a lot of firepower coming out of that. Yuzong, we know, is one of the strongest level 3 power spikes in the game, especially paired up with the Petrify.
And you're looking at a Metapro spotlight. One asked, what is your top strength as a jungler, and what part of your game do you want to further improve? Cartesi says that he wants to improve his game IQ, shot calling, wide hero pool, and aggressiveness. Oh, that's his strength. Room for improvement? He wants to learn to play Fanny. Come on, man. That's quite offensive to people who don't know how to learn Fanny. Just like me. Anyway, for Cartesi's dream meta, he wants to have fast money glitch, infinite money glitch in terms of the jungle position, fast cooldown with a lot of skill. You can understand that because that's English, but
yeah, we don't need to translate that.
Yeah, this situation, he's stronger than
checklist. Okay, so I remember when they did this. So he smiled for Kyrie.
Yeah, he smiled for Kyrie.
Big smiles for King Kong,
which means he's stronger than King Kong.
Sutsujin.
Yeah, he's very happy.
Demon Kite.
Very happy.
But the straight face for TNZ, I wonder, is it because, is that him respecting TNZ's Fanny from what we saw in MSC?
Yeah, I think so. With what happened from before, I think that's the reason why he wanted to learn Fanny as well. Because he was probably inspired with how TNZ has played all throughout MSC 2025. And it's nice to see, you know, the GOAT giving respect to someone that not a lot of people would know, except for when they are watching the international game. So this is really going to be a matter of time for him to get accustomed to the Fanny, and for the guys on your screen, Team Falcons, to be accustomed to what Team Liquid has been doing to them. Going back on what Renmark was saying a while ago, they should not be working on Super Marco's happiness, but for the happiness of the entirety of the Team Falcons, because that is how they're going to be winning. They tried to go for lane-winning matchups initially. It did not work so well for them with the broken walls. And now, with the next map that we will be having here in game number 2, which is none other than the broken walls again. We're not really changing anything. So the question is, will we see a change of lineup from Team Falcons, and what kind of adjustment they're going to be doing? Are they going to be putting Super Marco in a 4-5 situation again? Because they seem to be back to a corner when that usually happens.
Yeah, so now with Falcons on the blue side, they take out the Juicin, Kalea, Phovius. Are they going to rush the Arlot here if it's going to be open for them?
Oh, right.
Yeah, with the CC Farsa gone, or are they going to try to deny the GOATs lineup that Team Liquid Philippines built and then pick up the YSS instead? So I think that's one of the things they're thinking of. Are they going to steal away the Arlot from Sanford and then make sure that it ends up in the hands of for Flapteezy? Or are they going to pick up the Yi Shin so that Kyle Teezy gets his signature hero of the season, the pick that has saved them multiple times this season, and is one of the reasons why they made it to the playoffs?
This is going to be tough, but at least for Team Falcons, they can pace their way towards getting this first pick. They have a lot of different options here, but you have an idea.
1-1's also open, so what trade are you going to go for?
Oh, wow.
They're going to give Oheb the 1-1 if ever they're going to lock it in, but it's not. Fast blitz for Team Liquid Philippines. They have a very clear idea, but instead of the YSS, it's Lancelot, and now Oheb can go back to playing into the marksman. You're not necessarily required to play fighters here, but you actually still could if there's going to be one open for you.
This is the lineup that has worked for Carl TC and Team Liquid Philippines. Get heroes that are, very knowledgeable and familiar with the early game meta that we have so far. Getting those turtles are absolutely crucial. It depends. Now that the Arlot is actually there for Team Falcons, it gives Team Liquid Philippines an idea for Sanford's hero on whether or not how flexible it's going to be.
And they can't go 1-1, but they're willing to play 1-1 into the Fred Kimmy. I mean, they're willing to play Fred Kimmy into the 1-1. If ever Liquid do actually want to go for it.
This is pretty unusual,
Yeah.
The 1-1 not picked in the first or in the second for both teams.
Yeah, they want... Okay, we do know that Kimmy is one of those lane bullies at the center of the map. Like, the first trade in the middle minion wave usually goes in favor of the Kimmy, because you're just going to be fronting non-stop. So now Liquid pick up the Alice for Sanford. Potentially, who knows, maybe someone in the scrims cooked up an Alice gold lane, huge throwback.
At this point, I'm not even going to be surprised.
Yeah, back in Season 7 when Oheb made his debut, that was one of his signature picks. So let's see if they're going to go back to that. Now with Gatot Kaja at the center of the map, Alice EXP, the mid laner pool is wide. I think if you want to counter lineups that want to play fast and bully the center of the map, there is a realm of possibility of Sanji picking up a Selena later on at the 4, or maybe even the Low Yi if they're willing to play that far back and stretch, even though Low Yi really just hasn't been good this season as an option.
This goes back as well. Now I'm pertaining to the fans as well. The suppression has been cancelled out by Team Liquid Philippines. So if we're talking about some setups here for Team Falcons, they've already neutralized the situation except for the Kaja, which is still a possibility given that the Lancelot is there, but the threat of having both the Alice and the Gatot Kaja would make it a little bit difficult for the Kaja to at least pull off a Divine Judgment skill towards any of the members of the cavalry just because of a single dash that he has. So maybe some other options, a little mobile agility here for the rest of the members of Team Falcons would definitely help. But in order for them to be able to do that, they want to take out a hero that slows them inevitably whenever the RWM is used, which is this Eve.
All right, so that would have given a lot of struggle for the Fredrin and the Kimmy. Even though the Arlot has that access, it's not like you can final slash and then bring Eve closer to you. She's just going to stand there. She won't be able to press her squares, but I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense, but then with the options that we laid out for Sanji, that could still be very okay to play into. They already have the Arlot and the Fred together. I'm wondering if Oakwin is willing to play something that's a little bit more annoying. Oh, that's why Liquid banned out the Hilda. Okay.
You're talking about annoying, huh?
So I was actually thinking of the Hilda, and a part of me was thinking maybe Liquid wouldn't care about it, but they were like, you know what, let's just make sure that the Hilda doesn't end up with them. They can't even go for the big pickoff, because if they go for the Kaja, you won't really have the exact burst damage that you want to play. We mentioned the Loyi is an option earlier that gets banned out by Falcons.
Yeah.
I think Sanji can still definitely go either the Selena that we mentioned to help stop the rotations, find those members of Falcons with the traps, or if he's feeling pretty ballsy and you want more damage, just go pump out magic damage with the Lunox in mid.
They're trying to at least suppress Team Liquid Philippines towards their picks here in the mid lane position, because usually we see Luyi and the Eve getting picked up by Sanji to make out of this world plays or maybe out of the box plays, but that's not going to happen so far.
I wonder if he's willing to play into the Kagura. I think the record for the Kagura not that stellar for Sanji, no wins on it.
Right.
So they save their mid lane pick for later. They pick up the Harith. I wonder if they're gonna go mega greedy sustain and then surprise Angela again at the end of the draft, because they don't need to get burst anymore. They have the Harith. They're fine with that.
Right.
So
I think for Team Falcons, they tried to do that greedy lineup from game number 1, where it's heavily, lenient towards it. But I get the point. I see the vision here coming in from Team Falcons. If they want to pick off a greedy lineup, they can do that just because of the Alice and the Harith still needing some scaling. Yeah, I felt like that. I think that's the only way for them to be able to stop this.
So we're going to pick up, you can't go Kaja. Are you forced to play box or roam? Did you have a little bit of stop?
Matilda.
Okay, Matilda with the Fred, with the Granger. Okay.
Yeah.
I call this old school, a little bit more old school, the sustain. There needs to be a source of healing and shielding. Oh, it might actually be Angelo for Sanji. If it's not going to be anything offensive like the Selena or the Kagura, you go for defensive and utility. You pick up the Jella. You don't have to worry about an Esmeralda on the side of Falcons. You already see their lineup. An extra Angela means that you get a little bit more sustainability to match the shields that will inevitably be really good for Falcons and terrible for Liquid to go up against if they can't match the sustain. So, they go for damage. They still go for the Lunox that we mentioned earlier. They don't want to match the sustain. They want damage.
A lot of people were pretty much bashing the people who use Angela in the MPL because you give very skilled players a hero that only has a few buttons to press. But with the Lunox, they're going to go damage. They're going to try to break through the wall of Kyle TZ and Flap TZ. And together with Ogwen, the Lunox doesn't really care about the shields that will be committed here by the rest of the members of Team Falcons. But for Super Marco, the range finally comes in. He no longer needs to go all out and further engage with the idea of fighting from the distance. And I think based on the Alice and the Gacha of Team Liquid Philippines, he's going to have to be really careful about this approach.
Yeah, a lot of crowd control still on the side of Liquid, so it's up to Falcons to not mess this up.
Idea is for Team Falcons to equalize, but TLPH wants to take it. Here are the casters for y'all.
Thank you for the breakdown, Hans and Redmar. Once again, we're about to jump into Game 2 here in this best of 5 between the Clash of the Titans, TLPH, and Team Falcons. It's me, Naisu, and Leo to bring you the action. And man, I'll tell you what, Game 1 was devastating.
Welcome to Mobile Legends.
Legend has it that when Titans collide, you can't help but get a long series. So Game 1,
that's true.
That was just a taste. I'm here for the whole course.
Okay. All right. I want to believe it too, man. We're sitting at the table for this one. I will say this, though. Looking at the emblem breakdown, looking at the lineup that Team Falcons brought to Game 2, I share the same sentiments with what our panelists said here. One of the great things is the utility they have. They have Matilda locked in. This is much better for Super Marco. He's now got the Granger, so he's got some range to work with.
And the telltale sign that you respect what your opponents brought in Game 1, look at the absurd amount of purifies.
I was going to say.
I'm pretty sure if Flap TZ wasn't on an Arlet, he might have also rocked like a Purify if he was like a CC or something.
It is a 4-man Purify,
Right? Yeah, because again, you can't put a Purify in your jungler. But that just shows you how important crowd control is to Team Liquid Philippines' MO is. When they go into a match, they want to make sure that they don't just have damage. They have ways to dish out that damage efficiently. So you want crowd control, which they still have now in spades.
And that's why I think, the Team Falcons took what happened to them in game one, and they're like, we're going to go in better prepared for it. So what better way to do that than have a Matilda with you in the hands of Ogun, which can help you be a little more versatile and mobile.
Which I think is an answer to Liquid's, I guess, less crowd control centric lineup. Upon further evaluation, it's more damage now.
Magic damage.
Even Renmar, I saw drool a little bit. Was like, ooh, still the Lunox, really? Yeah. Because that is such a specific choice to make. That's a decision that they made in tandem with their coaches, Coach RC and Coach Tic Tac. Sanford here going to the back line, throws out that shadow. Ruin, no one home. Few less than half health as Carl just wails away at the turtle, securing it. JP still alive. Revitalize AOG on out. The brilliance in. Final slash by the Filipino cannon. Sanji falls. So does JP. Falcons clap back.
Oh, they clap back. They do give up that turtle, one in the hands of Carl Teasy, but good pickups here. Grabbing a couple of kills to put him on the board for Team Falcons. A much better start. And I got to say, a much better start just for Flap alone, man. Remember, he struggled on the Alice in game one. Well, now he's got a double early kill on this Arlot, who's going to be very important for them as they get through this game.
Already you can see how different Liquid's play is when they have less crowd control. They were playing on a clock there. They were counting the moments when they could get away with a turtle take, but Flap wasn't having any of it. They punished them hard for overstaying, because what are you going to do with an angry Arlot on you, man? Like, he is going to just sustain through the damage you were dishing out, especially in the early game.
Yeah, now he's got the Fury Hammer off of that, so a little bit of extra damage and that penetration to go in and help him. So now, if they wait even for the next objective or they try to set something up in one of these lanes, Flap alone is going to be somewhat of a threat. Again, that fight was started off from Sanford deciding to go in on the Alice, popping that Throne of Ruin, and not be able to really catch anything. It was a delayed kind of counter punch, really, from Team Falcons to make it work there. So a great setup. It gives them a very minor lead to go ahead and work with. And mind you, they didn't even really have to use much of their utility. They didn't have to pop all their purifies or anything like that. It's like they backed away from the game plan of TLPH, and they responded accordingly.
Yep, they were very much aware of the turn. They planned for that, and that puts them up 1,000 gold. Liquid now trying to push him back out of their side of the jungle. Kyle Teasy bullying his way towards a small camp steal. Yep. Kyle Teasy asserting himself. Traction ball thrown out by Few. There's a taunt by Kyle Teasy. JP accepts a good chunk of damage from Few with half health.
Okay, again, though, a lot. I mean, if that traction pulse was used, it's more like if we could get something, great. If not, that's fine. Flask of the Oasis now picked up here, too, for Ogwin. And the second fight for this turtle, the second turtle of the game is going to be fought for. They're going to go and set things up. Sanford trying to be up that front again. He pops the Throne of Ruin, goes in. Oh,
dashes on through, but answered by another final slash. Kyle Teasy secures the turtle. They're fighting back. Kyle Teasy goes down. There's a Zaman force. Oheb pushing them back. Now goes Flap. And just like that, Liquid are in the driver's seat. 2 free kills plus a major objective.
They just dissipated that little minor lead, about 1K that Team Falcons had. They got themselves the second turtle. So TLPH will find an answer, and they're going to be looking to take a little bit more if they can here. So Carl Teasy won't be able to grab that buff, but that was a big swing in favor of TLPH from letting things back into the balance, from letting it not slip out for Team Falcons.
And what's dangerous, Joseph, is the fact that they changed nothing about their approach.
It was the same.
Literally the same thing. Oh, we're going to blitz down the turtle and then clap back when we can. Yeah. I think they were just checking ranging in the first engagement. And now they know better what Falcons is capable of. They know what Flap Teasy is willing to do and are able to sidestep. Exactly. That's it. A missed final slash.
Missed final slash. And you know how many times that TLPH, they're always like that, man. They might, kind of get caught in the early game, but when something like that happens, like a big team fight like that happens, they're able to go ahead and adjust very quickly.
They catch Sanji. Kenny Brilliance out just in the nick of time. Gets it. Doesn't spend the flicker. A close call for the chef.
Great for him to keep on to the flicker, too. I was almost half expecting him to use it, but knowing the limitations here, once again, TLPH will go ahead and just set things up 30 seconds away from this turtle. You can already see, too, once the items were coming into place, they've already got those first items being locked in. Oheb, too, could be a problem here if they just let him have his day here.
All right. By dropping the Zaman Force, he does chunk that turret down to half health. TLPH, amazing map control with the small window of opportunity they got to snap themselves into 1,000 gold lead approaching. Yep. this is a good look for them going into Turtle 3.
It's funny, man. It's literally what we saw for after Turtle 1 for Team Falcons. Now it's the case for TLPH. So we'll see if Team Falcons has an adjustment themselves. Again, they've got so many kind of ways to cover down with the crowd control with the Purifies here. So we'll see if they can actually take the last turtle of the game for them. Flap's going to be able to jump in, but it's Sanford leading that charge again. What can they do here? Traction pulse thrown out too. There you go.
Jay coming in. Daddy JP, all eyes on him. Talon Force thrown out as well. 3 go just as quickly. Few is up next. Didn't even get the Purifiers. Marco falls. Baby Cakes doing work. Ooh la la.
And that was a stampede if I've ever seen one. TLPH just completely wrecked Team Falcons in that last turtle fight. It looked like nothing was going well for them, even though they burned the Purifies and everything else. Few didn't get the time to do it, but man, it just seemed like they didn't stand a chance in that team fight.
It's a swing and a miss. You mid-block a low sweep by purifying into a lineup that has so much damage and just the right amount of CC to get it in. One more look at it, and look at this. I think Liquid just moved too fast that Falcons wasn't sure if should we go for the turn of the steal. Turn of the steal, and it was too late.
It was a complete, like that is a stampede, man. That's what I'm saying. Like it looked like Team Falcons wasn't sure what they wanted to do with that team fight. And TLPH was like, we don't want to give them that opportunity to even think about it. We're just going to go.
It's an identity crisis on the first date. Like, who am I?
Who are you? You know, and by the time you don't even realize it, the date's done.
What do you want for dessert? Who am I?
I'm back at home, man, you know? I'll tell you what, though, TLPH, it took them a little bit longer to get to this point, but it's more or less the same as what happened in Game 1. They've now got themselves a good, comfortable lead. They've got a couple items, you know, each member here, and you almost, I think it's going to be a Holy Crystal for Oheb. Oheb has been nearly untouched. I mean, he's 3-0-2. I don't know if he's even used the Purify much.
And that is a missed opportunity. Oh no, Liquid! Bear down on the Few once more, force him back. Kyle Teasy just acting as the shield for Falcons as another throw of Rowan puts him down to half health. He's backing up, down goes Flap! Flap sacrificed himself so the rest of Falcons can back off.
Again, how many times can you do this? You know, how many times can you take the punishment if you're Flap Teasy here? He had such a good start in this game, too. The double kill off in the early game, but now he's, you know, and you can't blame him. That's kind of his job. He's got to force himself into these situations where he's trying to get a final slash off to give them an advantage.
You know what the hard truth is? Even if this went extremely well for Flap, he's not the one Falcons want to succeed. They want to put money on Few. They want to put money on Marco, and that's not even happening.
It's crazy how different even this Alice is working for TLPH in the previous game, man. And it's Sanford's not doing anything fancy. He's just pretty much like he hasn't died, that's one thing, but he's utilizing that flicker and that Throne of Ruin combo really, really well. That's zoning out Team Falcons. And, you know, trying to put the money on the right heroes here, on the right members, is that much more difficult when you got Sanford up in the front of it all.
But looking at how Falcons is reacting to it, they have 3 Purifies.
Yeah.
So what 40 is doing is essentially canceling and negating these Purifies. Which
like getting a Purify.
Yeah, like baiting a Purify, exactly.
Yeah.
So, again, he just becomes a sexier Uranus. He's just literally standing around them, waltzing around, forcing a response so the rest of Liquid can dish out the damage.
Yeah, I definitely choose Alice any day over the Uranus, you know? That's going to be the case for, I think, a lot of the teams here throughout the playoffs. It was already the case for the end of the regular season, and now we're seeing it in the hands of TLPH. Oh, they're just limit testing here for Carl TZ. Again, wanting to get these shields, the Lord is going to go ahead and walk up on the top side. We'll get this Holy Shield down up top. TLPH finding themselves again with a massive lead now at this point, almost 10,000, nearing that 9,000 mark. Tier 2 turrets will fall, and these shields being held onto for Team Falcons. So they're going to have to figure something out quick here, Leo.
They held on to that mid lane inhibitor. The shield there is going to stand for 1 more minute. That's wise for Falcons. I think they did the right thing. Because imagine if you even lost that resource. Imagine just by not touching that siege minion.
Yeah.
You would have flubbed and got a free wave clear. Falcons are still in this. I think Falcons are still locked in. I'm thinking of ways that they could clap back. At least number one, Marco isn't exactly starving. That there is some resources coming into this Granger. Flap Easy, we talked about this so many times. you can miss 99% of your final slashes, but if inside your base you can wipe them out with that last one.
It's that one.
It's that one.
Yeah, that one can change the course of the game.
So Cope is alive.
The Cope is alive, but I think in order for it to actually become a threat, they're going to have to get that, the gold and the items over here on Super Marco especially, because yeah, crowd control-wise, you got that covered for Team Falcons. You got a lot of utility. You got to be able to go ahead and capitalize on that. And who is going to be doing that? Super Marco. And he's just not there yet. He was about 2,000 gold behind Oheb. So I think if you're looking at Team Falcons on how they can go ahead and maintain themselves into this game, it's really buying enough time to get Super Marco to the point where he needs to be. We've seen him do it before, man.
Yep.
So you can't count them out completely, even though this is a massive lead right now for TLPH, and they're taking just about everything they want.
It's not impossible. Team Falcons and Team Liquid PH right now, because of this 10,000, 11,000 gold lead, are playing their own little sadistic version of Pac-Man. One of them is dodging, while the other is just moving around, trying to get resources and score up and close that gap. Liquid are doing this very, very disgustingly. Despite the Matilda on the other side, Liquid are so mobile. Again, you have that Gleam, you have a Lancelot that can dash on through, you have an AOG, you have a Gatot Kacha that can go, from point to point, little corners of the map.
Yeah, and he's, like, look at him. JP will just post up, and he can get out that way, too. So, Lord's already secured. They might force a fight.
Throne of Ruin, 540, and they're engaging. They do get that engagement underneath that orange. Salmon Force. Not a good look for Liquid to overextend. Falcons back off.
They do. They're going to go ahead and disengage from that, but that was all to get this Lord. Good thing, I will say this, Team Falcons held on to the Purifies. Yeah, a Flicker was burned in that exchange. Flaps doesn't have that, but they've got the Purifies ready. They have a little bit of time to go ahead and prep up for this Lord push up top. And Team Falcons, if you really look at this lineup, oh no, are they going to try to make a play? Okay, they did. Ogun did punch forward with that circling eagle, but they've got enough time to reset here and get ready for this base defense.
Interesting pivot.
Yeah.
Suddenly turning over to Sanji when he was expecting to turn on Carl DZ.
Yeah.
But I guess they were just buying time, because look, Falcons are forced to Ube to even respond to anything Liquid is throwing their way. They do eventually get to this Lord. JP with the AOG, fighting underneath the Tier 3. Not a good look. JP falls.
Oh, they're going to be able to go. Now Sanji in trouble. Takes a shot himself, but Carl, they just want that turret. That's all they're going to be able to get.
2 for 1. Inhibitor falls in mid. Now Kyle, underneath Carl's blade, gets taken down to about half health as they dodge on through. The taunt catches Carl. The Phantom Execution out.
Oh, and that gave him enough space. Oheb was there to back him up with the Zaman Force, but it looks like that's all they'll get. That's what I'm saying. Team Falcons, man, imagine they're down 11,000 gold, but they actually were able to go ahead and defend into that. That base turret up top didn't go down.
It was a 6v5, Joseph.
Yeah.
Lord fell even before Liquid knew that this was a real fight, and it was a matter of, let's just get that mid lane inhibitor. Since Falcon is forced to play together, they can't clear that wave. Liquid just decided we are collateral damage.
Yep.
JP falling, who else died? Sanji falling.
Yeah.
Like, that was the necessary trade for that mid lane inhibitor to fall.
And that's, I think, is that just going to be one of the cases because of the lineup that they have, where it's like they have to throw some bodies at this lineup that Team Falcon has just to get some of these inhibitor turrets down.
I'm guessing it is a one-time sacrifice, a one-time payment. It's not a subscription, Joseph.
Just one time.
Yep, you literally, you do that, it's lifetime. Yeah, you have access to it all the time because they have access to that mid lane all the time.
That mid lane now. Oh, Emperor does jump in with a Gleam, but again, you got to start respecting what this lineup from Team Falcons can do. I think even in a sense, you already saw the preview of damage that they're able to pump out if TLPH somehow overextends. Looking at the items, though, too, Super Marco, he's still, 1,000 plus gold behind Oheb, but you look at the items he's got, he's in a fighting position now on the Granger.
He is, but it's not optimal. He has, 2 stacks on that Sky Piercer?
Yeah, not much.
All the while, Oheb is up, yes, 1,000 and change, but he hasn't even built his full arsenal yet. So that means he's going for the most expensive version of a gold lane mage.
Yeah, he might as well.
He's got a power spike incoming still.
He's still got it. No.
They drop the Zaman Force underneath Kyle T. Traction falls thrown out. AOG from Daddy JP. And an Abrasive Wrap. Not enough to keep Kyle alive. Look at the back line. Sanji finds Few. and that'll be 2 for free. Liquid chasing down Daddy Ogwin. Who's your daddy? So far, JP is lording over all of Falcons as Sanji bites it. 2 for 1, the trade.
That was an interesting trade, too. I know Sanji went down. He was there to zone out Super Marco into the base. This might give an angle for TLPH to get another turret. I'm not sure if they can end it, though. They might push for it.
Uh-oh. Carl Easy underneath. Flap Easy doing his darndest to clear the wave. Divert attention away from TLPH. Ending the game. Oh, hip finds Super Marco. 7-4 underneath the base. Flap Easy up next. And there's just the base left. Waves are crashing in as Liquid smell match point just mere inches away. The base gets cracked. The Cavalry march forth 2-0.
Another strong game for TLPH. Can't wait to hear what the panel has to say about this one. Let's go ahead and throw it over to them to break down game number 2.
All you gotta know, boys, is that the Cavalry means business. And when I say business, it's tough, serious business. They're richer than me when I was in college. That's how big of a lead they've had in gold, and that is Team Liquid Philippines at match point.
I don't get why Team Falcons seem to be hell-bent and wanting to play lineups that want longer team fights. They're allowing Team Liquid Philippines to play fast, to play high damage, to play quick. It seems like Falcons are looking at this with a more defensive mindset. Where's the killer instinct in the Falcons that want to take control, that eventually made the climb into the playoffs after suffering for majority of the season? While Liquid are just re-injecting into their veins what being part of Team Liquid actually means. Playing fast, playing decisive, playing with hella damage, and just showing off your mechanical prowess. Yes, you can see from the first turtle fight that Falcons, the vision of them wanting to play for a counter is executable. But then once you get into Turtle 2, if you cannot get a big win before that main sequence, and then Team Liquid Philippines continues to find even more, and the Harris is left unchecked, you're not going to beat the damage that Liquid are going to dish out. Falcons, they picked the Super Marco Granger into the last. That's another MVP performance for OM, and easily, because he was aggressive at the right time. He went forward and went aggro at the right time, catching Team Falcons off guard. I don't know what they're doing trying to play for longer team fights, man. That's not how you play against Liquid.
I mean, we saw some glimpses of greatness coming in from Team Falcons right from the start of that first turtle take, because they were able to at least get some explosive plays to happen courtesy of Flapteasy, and I thought things were going well for them back then. But they went back to the reactive kinds of Team Falcons that continued to put them at a bottomless pit where they cannot find a way to be able to execute, and that is the idea that they want to do here in game number 2. But Team Liquid, knowing the idea, the lineup that they had in mind, they had the Lunox, sure, they even had the Harith, who you would expect to be able to at least scale during the middle to the later portions of our game, but that didn't matter anymore because Carl Easy was so fed pretty quickly, and you saw them right there. If you're Filipino, you basically understand, or if you have a Filipino friend, you probably understand that too. But it's just the mentality of, Team Liquid Philippines. They know that they are capable of finishing them off in one major clash that could depict the rest of the game here in game number 2.
Yeah, you can see here in every team fight, look, Sanji left unchecked, he's just gonna go around the back. Yeah, they can sustain, they can hold, but then once that Lunox shows up, what are you gonna do? Just darkness in, chaos assault, not much. So, one of the suggested picks that we thought that Liquid might want to lead to is to match sustain for sustain, go for the Angela in the mid. in the first objective team fight, I was saying behind the scenes that, maybe the Angela could have done better there and they could have countered the engage that Falcons brought out. But then Turtle 2 onwards is when we started saying, so when Falcons wants to try and pick Sanji off, but then they don't get Sanji and he just gets the Brilliance out, in comes Oheb, in comes the Lancelot. And so now the resources that you wasted trying to take down that Lunox was already spent. You have no resources anymore to take down the Harith. Liquid, they are doubling down on their key idea heading to this playoff, going up against Falcons. They're playing fast, they're playing aggressive, while Falcons, they're too defensive-minded at this point.
They understand the concept of a front-to-back composition. I have to say that Oheb sure is the MVP of the game just because he dealt so much damage, but you also have to give props to Sanford and to JP, man. They were at the right place at the right time, doing their jobs in a spectacular manner. Gatot Kacha and the Alice were key problems for even Flap TC in trying to set up, because I think during the first 2 minutes or first 3 minutes, it was a battle of setups between the EXP laners and the roamers. And for Ogwen, he was trying to speed up the tempo of this game, sure, with the Matilda and the guiding wind, but unfortunately for them, the major crowd control skills and the major playmakers weren't on their side. It was on the side of Team Liquid Philippines because Sanford has more area to cover. JP has also more area to cover, and that enabled Oheb to scale. Carl TC to even scale as well. I was asking you a while ago on whether or not, because usually you would see Alice and even, a Harith scale up later in the later portions of the game, and you won't see them provide enough impact in the first early minutes. But that changed because of how well Team Liquid Philippines has scaled all over this game.
Yeah, well, the undeniable truth of this current metagame is just more damage wins. For majority of the history of global MLBB, it was the longer, better, cleaner team fight wins. Now it's just, bro, you can afford to build up a lineup that just dives in front of all of your opponents, bombards them with damage, and then you're just gonna win. With Falcons, there was something that I mentioned in the draft. It was an old school approach. To double down a little bit more, it just felt dated. Seeing the Mathilda, the Fredrin, the Kimmy, Arlong, and the Granger. The Granger was picked last alongside the Matilda on the blue side. Well, then Falcons, they could have gone for a more old school approach, but then they brought out the Lunox instead for the raw damage to pair it up with the Lancelot. And yes, you can say that the Gatot Kacha, you think of him as a hard tank. You think of him as a stain, a tank that picks up the Revitalize to not only drag out the fight even longer for his team, but then also heal his teammates. But we know that Gatot Kacha is one of those heroes that the longer a team fight goes, the more damage he can dish out, actually with enhanced basic attacks coming out of him. And they decided to double down on more damage for Gatot, for the mid laner, for the gold laner. They had an overload of magic, but it was okay because the Granger took too much time.
And he also,
I don't know why I came out like that.
Time.
Yeah, I don't know why I came out like that.
I think Enigma was pretty proud on.
I think I was a little bit too passionate over that.
And then in addition to what you said, I felt like there was slight of a problem with the Kimmy pick for me personally, because JB was just standing on business on wherever the bullets are going to be appearing towards the Kimmy, and he was defending, scaling on it so well that there wasn't enough damage coming in from the side of Team Falcons, where initially there was supposed to be enough damage, and that created a lot of problems for Team Falcons because they weren't enough to at least burst one hero down. Just in case they were able to at least burn down the Alice, who continues to escape, because Sanford, as sly as he is, he has always been an escape artist in game number 2, and for JP, that has always been the scenario for him, just looking for the potential angle where he can put a stop to the damage that was brought about by Super Marco and Few, and let the others dish out the damage. That's where Carl TC steps in and kills all of them.
Yeah, I think heading into the playoffs, we got to see where these two teams are at. Usually when we say a team is playing to win and the other team's playing to lose, you could see it in the drafts. You can see how they execute it. Team Falcons, they are looking to counter. Team Liquid, they are looking to put their foot in the gas and just go, and it's working out well for them. Despite the Turtle 1, them taking it and then getting countered, they understand that they're going to get a bigger win elsewhere because of the raw damage that they have once they head into Turtle 2 and Turtle 3. Similar was the scenario for game number 1, except in game number 1, it's a different story. They could actually afford to go already by Turtle 1, and that's exactly what we saw. Falcons, it looks like with the drafts that they showed and how they're playing the first 2 games, they weren't completely ready for the sudden evolution that Liquid showed up with heading into this playoffs.
They were absolutely ready. They were out for blood, this Team Liquid Philippines squad. As you're looking at the head-to-head between the jungle matchup that we have here, it's Calteezy and Carl Teasy. And if you look at it, a lot of rights go to the KDA, the Gold, the EXP, and the KP. And the only thing that is right over there is the KDA at 5 minutes, 2 in favor of Kyle Teasy. That's the only stat that he has an advantage on.
I think they really need to change their approach through the center of the map because yes, they put Kyle Teasy on the Fredrin, is paired up with the Arlot, that's the usual combination. But Fredrin and Arlot shine with even more burst damage paired up with them. But then they decided to pair it up with Kimmy at the center of the map, which is longer sustained damage. Yes, she hurts, yes, she'll have the space, hypothetically, but then compared to the raw damage output of a Lunox, who early on, before you get the Flask of the Oasis and all of the shields getting pumped out by the Mathilda, the damage of the Lunox will actually tear through your lineup. So they really need to readjust wherein, okay, you want to go a certain way, but then you're always lacking one little thing, whether it's in the gold lane or whether it's in your damage profile through the center of the map. And if I'm Falcons, that's where I'm going to have to look at and rechange the focus. You take the Kimmy out of the hands of Few, give Few something else. Give Few that can deal more damage.
True. Probably had a difficult time trying to figure out who the best Clearhead super fan of the day is, and it's you, my guy. Congratulations. You got some pretty good looking shampoo heading home. And man, I'm telling you right now, his hair's looking pretty good.
It's raining outside right now, so if he wants to hop into the rain, take a quick shower, use that clear, you know?
Yeah.
He already looks fresh. Why not look even fresher?
You know what? For all of the people who are watching, you guys should do that. You know, like try to go outside whenever it rains. Bring a clear shampoo with you. Put a tripod right in the middle. You know what? I'm gonna get it right now. Like you do this, and then after that, you just rinse.
You're encouraging people to take a shower in the rain with clear now.
Yeah, dude, because like that gives a lot more cinematic flair to it.
This isn't an early 2000s R&B music video that you could just do that.
Chris Brown?
This ain't Chris Brown or anyone else. This ain't, Usher.
Thanks, Tripod. You have done your business. I tried to prove a point, but you'll stay in a shaded area.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got you. But for you guys as well, if you want to stay in your showers, why am I even talking about that, dude? I'm just gonna get back into this matchup right over here. TLPH already at match point, showing some swag against Team Falcons, and from the looks of it, they are looking to be part of this scenario. The M7 pitchers so far, there's still not a lot of certainties between a lot of the others here, except for Team Falcons, who has Boyet and is now a Filipino import that is part of the M7 World Championship.
The first team to qualify for M7 in Jakarta, Indonesia, Team Falcons from the MPL MENA region. We're going to be seeing MPL ID, MPL MY later down the line. Of course, MPL ID up next in the docket right after the MPL Philippines playoffs, just 3 days after the action in Jakarta, Indonesia begins, where Onyx ID are leading the charge heading to the playoffs, but Bigatron by Vitality got an iconic win against them in Week 8, day number 2. While MPL Malaysia still looks like it's an SRG OG-led league.
Man, I saw the dates. I was looking at the dates while you were telling us about the teams that have qualified, and we're looking at matches or playoffs that will start at the 13th of November. Yeah, that's how much more MLBB is outside of the Philippines. So for everybody who's watching this, man, there's a lot of MLBB action that you're gonna have to watch out for, because I am sure as hell that I'll be watching at the comfort of my own home, maybe together with Redmar as
Why would I be in your house?
Why not? We're at Wolf's house. You know what?
Sure.
Wolf's house. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
He accepts visitors there. Yeah. I don't know if
you've never invited us over to your place. So
no, yeah, but like
let's go for your place.
I don't know if we'll make enough noise for me to get kicked out. So
wait,
You want us to make enough noise for you to get kicked out? No, not really. That's not what I'm saying. I'm trying to like structure it in a sense that I don't want to get kicked out.
Okay,
but it's quite inevitable.
I get you.
That we get kicked out. Like remember when Wolf got like a noise complaint warning?
Yeah,
Wolf. We're talking trash about you because you're at Filipino broadcast. Anyway,
not talking trash. We're stating facts. It actually happened.
You know what? That's true. That's true. Ask Naisu later at when he's back at the desk. But hey, ooh, you're looking at some smiles now from Carl Tizzi. Just a while ago, you know, he had a very serious aura given towards him. But I think for Team Liquid Philippines, they wanna break the curse of not making it into the second round of playoffs in the even-numbered seasons. We're looking at 10, 12, and 14. But for Master Ogwin, this is his last hurrah. Every single game from here on out is gonna matter. It's a do-or-die matchup. And when he's holding to that Franco, Kacha, and Hilda, he can make it happen, but none are given to him in the past 2 games.
Yeah, the second phase ban on the Hilda of Master Ogwen was actually brilliant by Team Liquid Philippines. One of the heroes that we posed, we thought he'd pick up something a little bit more annoying. It was blocked right away. The Matilda could have been annoying, but then Liquid just met it with some damage. So I'm going to double down on what I was saying earlier. Falcons need to stop playing the Kimmy and just pick up something like the Farsa if he can for a few. Just get it on his hands already, if it's possible. But then if you look at the bans for Liquid, game number 1, they were on the blue side, they banned out the Farsa.
Right.
Game number 2, they banned out the Farsa as well. So it seems like Liquid have already doubled down on that idea that they really do not want to give that Farsa to Few. So what else then do you have outside of the Kimmy? In terms, or outside of the Farsa in terms of the burst. Looking back into Few's hero pool, Farsa is his most successful. After that is the Juice In. But it goes against what we were saying about having a little bit more damage. It seems like playing the Selena for the hands of Few is out of the question. If they are gonna go into this with the mindset of they don't wanna, if they wanna play safer, you don't wanna pick up actually a very high risk pick into the Selena. Then you go down into the Kagura. But then Kagura has also been reduced to the totem pole. So more so than looking at it at Falcons actually choosing something that's detrimental for them, it's Team Liquid doing a way better job of blocking the best possible thing that Falcons can go for.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Team Falcons, I think you're just gonna have to pick your poison at this point. This could potentially be your last game if you don't get to win this victory. Team Liquid Philippines are looking to put all the stops, putting all the clips on the Falcons' wings, and this could end right over here. So if there's a better way for you to risk, now is the perfect time to do so. But we're changing things up. We're going with Flying Clouds now, which, by the way, in terms of statistics, is where Team Falcons remains undefeated. So that could potentially or possibly even give them a little bit more hope, if there is still any, for the Green Falcons.
Yeah, but now that with ending up in Flying Clouds, there's a pick that Sanford picks up that comes as a big surprise to the teams that have gone up against it and has done well for him, and that's the glue. And then as we all know, when you're playing in Flying Clouds, you're willing to pick up the slower moving EXP laners, because even if you maybe somehow miraculously get brought down really low by your opponents and you have to recall, you're okay, because you have the clouds to fly back in very quickly. So let's see if they're going to be leaning into that, or Liquid are just going to go one more time, double down on the damage. And speaking of, once again, they deny Few of the Farsa that is sorely missed by Falcons right now.
The walking legend is a marked man all throughout the last 3 games. The Farsa, no. Not even the Zushin. There was a time, I believe, in game number 1 where the Zushin wasn't really contested at all because they were prioritizing other mid laners. But in this moment,
they get Kyle Tizzi on the hero that allowed them to climb the playoffs. But that YSS was paired up with the Farsa. So are you going to pair it up with another artillery mage? Are you going to maybe potentially go for an Eve? But then I don't see a scenario where that would be okay for them right now. Are you going to be stuck on a Kimmy yet again? Will you save the Few pick for later? Because now with Falcons having the Yi Sun Shin in the jungle,
right,
with the high loss fronting, they might want to open the possibility of them picking up a Cho later on. They get the Uranus for Flap TZ, so they're just doubling down on comfort at this point. Some of their best picks their season, Uranus for Flap, YSS for Kyle.
This is going to go back to the recent gameplay that they've had before, where Flap TZ's role is to just be annoying. And the more annoying Flap TZ is, the better the chances for Team Falcons to win. That is what they're currently banking on, just based on the 3 picks. But another Kimmy pick for few this time around, so they would want to really build up on the comfort. You're right, based on what you're talking to us about, Team Falcons heavily leaning on towards the comfort that they've had for the past few weeks already during the regular season. But for Team Liquid Philippines, who no longer has, you know, both the Gatot Kacha and the Kalea, it makes a lot of sense that the Hylos was picked up early just so they wouldn't have a lot of problems. But for Ogwen, you still have the Grok, but it could potentially be a very difficult scenario. So the Alice is the final pick up. Sanford is gonna try to at least give a lot more problems to the Uranus. And you know, I think it was Leo who told the broadcast this, that Alice is a sexier Uranus.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
In terms of function, I believe is what he wanted to imply.
You know what? I hope so. I hope so. He's probably going to clear that up later.
Let's see if the Alice... I think at this point, the Alice is just going to do good no matter what happens. I'm heavily leaning towards the possibility that we're just going to see Falcons get swept and Liquid's going to advance into the next round. But let's see if there can be surprises thrown out. We take out Ogwen's pick with a lack of burst. They're gonna need to pick something up really good for Marco. They're gonna need strong burst. I wouldn't even want to see people consider something like a Moskov as their typical thing. Takes a bit too much time. Granger, Kimmy together again. Yeah, maybe should be okay, but you don't see the mid laner of Sanji. They could easily just pick up the Lunox one more time and just go burst. That's another revitalize roamer for JP, so they'll be able to sustain. Maybe the first ones they get countered. So I like they're reducing to the burst that Liquid could potentially go for. They take out the Lunox, they take out the Harith. So now you're gonna have to see Team Liquid settle with something else.
You know, there's a slight limit towards the total damage output that Team Liquid Philippines can produce here. Compared to the first 2 games, we saw that raised in an exponential level for the cavalry. Meanwhile, for Team Falcons, it's the usual routine for the bands of DLPH. Just take out Ogwen's heroes and also take out Fuse heroes. And that has been the process for victory, so that no matter what Super Marco's hero is going to be, we're going to be sure that we can at least box him out, not get enough scaling, and put Oheb in a position where he can actually win. And speaking of box, there goes the real-world manipulation that's gonna slow everything down in Sanji's tracks.
What sucks here is even if you pick up the no, you can't even pick up the Valentina anymore because we already showed the Kimmy. What a pain in the ass for Falcons. Eve, Alice, Laszlo, Hylos.
Ruby.
It really just looks like Liquid could just run over Falcons right now unless they can somehow make a pick-off burst work.
Yeah, they have an ace up their sleeve, given that they're being backed into the corner so much from the draft alone here of Team Liquid Philippines. Team Falcons is going to need something here. Although a silver lining, I would say, would be the Uranus of Flap TZ staying alive. There you go. The Beja and the Khalid.
All right. And then right away, right away they just knew that they wanted to pick the Granger no matter what Falcons decided to go for here. This could be really tough. It's Clouds, not Rivers, but let's see if Super Marco is going to get a quick rotation. Turtle 1 or Turtle 2 to join in, and then Falcons will build the lead through there, because if Falcons are not proactive, if Falcons are looking to play defensive and counter-punish, the Liquid will stampede over the Falcons and advance into the next round of the playoffs.
TLPH says that the stampede is inevitable, but the wings of the Falcons are still flying for the 3rd time around. An annoying hero for Flap TZ, comfort for Kyle TZ that landed them into this point of the competition. Will this be it, or will we see something else from the greener side of things? Here are your casters, Nice and Leo. Take it away.
The Falcons' wings might be clipped. Can they gain a flight and get a game under their belt to extend the series here, or will Team Liquid Philippines stampede all over the dreams of Team Falcons? We're going to find out. We jump to Landon once again, everybody. I'm Naisu, and this is Leo to bring you Game 3 of this best of 5. And man, oh man, has it looked bad for Team Falcons so far.
They need an updraft. They need a little bit of a breeze. And I think the speed that this draft they got in Game 3 might serve that up. Very sustainable in the gold lane. That Bane, the Khalid and Ogwin. Few's been holding on to this. And come on, it's old versus new. Uranus versus a sexier Uranus.
Oh, we mentioned earlier it's a cosplay battle, man. But this time around, I got to say, I want to lean towards, I'm happier that Flap went with the Uranus.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because like
simpler wins?
I think that might be the case for Flap, man. Ogwin? Yeah, he's going to get away. But like, I think he needs that because the Alice in Game 1 was not it. He tried to do things on the Arlott in Game 2, had a little bit of success, but now you put a Uranus in the hands of Flap. I feel like this might be an opportunity for him to go ahead and just do what he needs to do and be that upfront guy to then give space to Super Marco to shine on this Bane here. Maybe that's a part of it.
Those bespectacled gentlemen up in the higher benches did mention that if you put a hero like Uranus on Flapteezy, you kind of buy time and space for the other half of the map so Marco can farm. Now Ogwin here put down an inch away from his death, didn't even bother to flicker. He's like, I know you can't kill me.
Which is surprising because I think given the situation, I almost expected him to flicker there. Again, he still has the quicksand guard, so that's going to be fine. But also, mind you, we are on a turtle. Though. This might bring into a fight. They're going to jump in.
Mountain Shocker already thrown out that boat. Real world manipulation coming in. Power easy secures, and they can get out of dodge. But no, they force the engage. Sanford gleams on out of here. I think Ogwin and Flap want more. Liquid ain't giving any.
Yeah, no, there's good zoning there. Oheb in trouble. Whoa!
Did not see him coming. Oheb thought he could fight back, but instead, Marco flickers in and spits on that thing.
He shaked that thing.
He shaked it.
Man, the Bane. We were wondering if it's going to pop up. It pops up here in Game 3. And this is a great thing that Team Falcons need in order to go ahead and get themselves in a position. They might be relying on everybody's favorite gold lane hero right now, Bane.
He's been my favorite hero for about half a decade now.
That's true.
And what makes it so good is, sure, Liquid got a turtle, but Falcons got the best target, the gold laner. They took down Oheb.
Yeah, they did. And that's a great way to go ahead and stop him from getting the leads he's had the previous 2 games. Now, it's not anything big. You can see this here. It looks like Super Mario's just going to rush the Holy Crystal.
Yes.
Just get that damage.
That's what you do.
Get that Deadliest Catch and get that heal.
If you're not in any immediate danger, you just greed out and say, I'm just going to go for the Holy Crystal. What are you going to do about it?
Oh, man, that's a scary thing to think about, of TLPH. But, again, we have to see if Team Falcons can maintain that kind of pressure, man. Like, they got to be able to utilize that. And, if you think about it, that would be a great setup utilizing the Khalid they brought to this game. If Ogwin can actually get a setup that he's looking for, because, again, in Game 2 with the Matilda, he wasn't really able to do that. A lot of the times they were just collapsed down on, they had to get disengaged, but with the Khalid, I think it's a different story. The panel even said, give him a hero that can be annoying. Well, I think this is one of the heroes other than the Hilda that was banned out to be that hero for Ogwin.
All right, Few catches Carl easy on him, goes up and takes the skies, but Carl ain't having any of it. Takes a few shots away, not just from the turret, but from the Mount Shocker. Kyle takes him down, and JP does try to bring out the extraction point, but it's too little too late. There's no jungler for Liquid coming into the second turtle. But they take down Ogwin. Liquid with a vengeance.
Oh, I was just going to say that's a great opportunity for them to take this turtle, but now that Ogwin's gone down, they're just going to wait for Carl to be back here.
Yep, here he comes. Via the flying cloud as Oheb gets popped by Marco once more.
That doesn't feel good. That's Super Marco's eaten well this game, at least for that. They're still going to go ahead and contest this turtle. They don't want it to go in the hands of Carl Teasy, but he does just grab it easily. Sanford will flicker on out. Oh, disengage.
There's the glorious pathway. JP and the rest of Liquid can actually choose the fight that they're going to pick, but he gets trapped between 4 members of Falcons. How about some roast horse, everybody?
Yep. JP goes down. Right now, Team Falcons in a better position than throughout the entire of the series. Yes, it's not a major lead or anything like that, but they're sitting good. I would say even again, this pressure they've been put putting in the gold lane at Super Marco. Now, whoa! Goodbye, Sanford. Oh, hold on.
Real manipulation, trying to punish Flap. They do get him, but I'll tell you now, that's still a good trade for Falcons.
They also get that turret, so great play on the macro sense of things here. I'm not sure if O's going to go for Oheb. If he dies here again, that's going to be crucial for TLPH. They're going to have to help Oheb get back into this game. Traction pole's used up, but it's just JP that gets grabbed into it.
See, that's the thing. It's difficult for Liquid to put Oheb in a spot where he can farm freely and safely. There's so much going for him. A chubby old crab man with a cannon for an arm. You have a Korean legit historical figure going around who can see the map. That's what's missing, I think, vision. Liquid doesn't have the same kind of vision that Falcons does.
Yeah, they don't have that vision, but they have the box. The panel mentioned, whoa!
We just skipped it for a second and Carl pops. Wow!
What just happened? I did not expect Super Marco to go down just to Carl Teasy when he was up there on that side.
I thought it was the Bane that randomly bursts people. What's going on? Flap Teasy gets the glory pathway and the railroad manipulation on him. Throwing out that Mountain Shocker. Too much damage. Oakwind gets popped by Oheb. Baby cakes are clapping back. 2 for free. Make that 3 for Count and Marco, who just comes in on a cloud. That's hilarious.
What just happened, man?
The Liquid Stampede.
They stampeded.
Oheb. Baby cakes are clapping back. 2 for free. Make that 3 for Count and Marco, who just comes in on a cloud. That's hilarious.
What just happened, man?
The Liquid Stampede.
They stampeded. Started with the perfect target. It was Super Marco.
60, man.
That's just what they do. And now this third turtle. Mind you, I think throughout the series, Carl Teasy has all the turtles in his hands, man.
He does?
I think so.
Literally. I think 6, 8, 9 in total.
9 turtles. And again, objectively, TLPH is just playing better. Even if they lose some of these turrets or some of these deaths in the early game, they're able to go ahead and find these moments where it just turns the game in their favor.
Pretty sure that's not how the Animal Kingdom works. Goats do not have a strict diet of turtles.
Hey, you heard him in the opening. What is it? The game chasing him now.
Yep.
He's not chasing the game anymore. He's completed it. He's on new. Is this New Game Plus?
This is New Game Plus. Game of the Year edition.
Game of the Year edition, New Game Plus for Carl Teasy right now.
Hey, our game did win a few awards, the Mobile Game Awards this year. So
that's true. That's true. You're right about that one. Oh, this
Carl Teasy and Oakwood gets caught by the glorious pathway. Daddy JP means business. Alongside 3 other members of Liquid. Oh, they force him to go the other way. The conceal from Oakwood. This is just a matter of time.
Run,
a
Oakwood.
formality. Oakwood can't even sacrifice himself to the turret. He's wasting their time.
He's wasting their time and looking up top. He's bought enough time for Super Marco to go ahead and push into that.
That's an execution. Oh, but still few falls as 40 finds him. Throne of Ruin. Able to slow the assault. He might go down here. Kyle Teasy throwing out these swords and arrows and swords. Finally he falls. And in mid, Flap Teasy pushing them all back.
Okay.
Some peace and quiet for a second here.
I would say that wasn't so bad for Team Falcons. Yeah, they lost a couple bodies. They were able to get the tier 2 up top. That whole thing that Oakland started by, let me tell you something, running off on his own. Yeah, bought him enough time to go ahead and at least get a turret. Now, in the grand scheme of things, is that going to change much? Right now, TLPH is still in that driver's seat. They're able to go ahead and control this because the Lord is coming up in about 15.
It feels like it's slowing the inevitable. But if that happens one more time, if some way, somehow, Falcons shrink this 800 gold lead from Liquid and maybe take it up to their side, put it at about 2,000, 3,000, then maybe Marco can be once again that force of nature that gets them on the board.
If somehow Marco bursts one of the crucial members of TLPH.
Carl or
Oheb.
Or even Sanji, maybe.
Even Sanji. He can burst
any of these cores.
Yeah. If he bursts anybody, that's a big help for Falcons into this Lord. I think they'll take their time though, because again, they were fighting into a box of Sanji. Sanji with this whole E pick was highlighted in the panel of being deadly. Oh, whoa!
Carl Teasy here.
Oh!
Tango with death against 2. And now Oheb barely alive. Mount Shocker. They know how low he is. They see him. Sanford, Throne of Ruin, but it's not enough to stop Falcons from taking him down. Few falls. No traits for Liquid. And it's just a free pickoff. Liquid overextended.
Man, a whole lot was thrown there. Ogwin is on that side. I don't
know if they're going to start the Lord off of that. It was only Sanford that goes down. He'll be up in 12. And remember, this is Flying Clouds, so we can join in this fight. But it looks like they're going to try to at least blitz it a little bit. Oh, no. TLPH is back for this fight. They want to wait for Sanford to be up. They drop down the pathway.
Lord is very low. Kyle Deasy secures, and the arena goes wild. Kyle gets popped by Carl. Carl Deasy looking to survive, and he will.
Oh.
Second more.
Ogwin.
Sandstorm by Ogwin, plus a deadly catch by Marco. And now it's just Sanford left. 40's holding on against 3 members of Falcons. This is nigh impossible to win. But he might take Super Marco, but he won't. As Marco spits on that thing, it's a wipeout.
It's a wipeout that Team Falcons needed. And my God, what a raging sandstorm from Ogwin to set that thing up and capitalize on what Team Falcons did.
Falcons used Carl Teasy's anger and vengeance and forced him to overextend, equal to the rest of Liquid overextending, and then they caught him with that ult combo.
They got him, man, and you're seeing it. This is the switch. This is the draft. And I'm talking about the gust of wind that these Team Falcons needed here. It's a step in the right direction. It's not going to win them the game just yet unless somehow they're able to get the right targets down. This Lord is making its way towards the base of TLPH. And they're going to try to hold it here. They drop down the Glorious Pathway. But where do they go? Deadliest Catch drop down 2. They're going to clear out that Lord. Takes a couple hits on the turrets, but they maintain the top and mid turret.
It's damage control mode for Liquid. As for the first time in this whole series, 3 games in, they are down 3,000 gold, and they're staring down Falcons a push across all 3 lanes. I'll tell you now, Joseph, looking at a Bane on the opposite side, looking at it at 6-1 and 2, it's not a good feeling.
That's not, man.
It's scary.
Especially when he's waddling in front of you, man. And if you get to see him on a cloud, even more so, is it devastating.
Crabs aren't supposed to be that high up in the sky. That's not how God meant him to go.
I've been asking for this since the regular season. I wish we had a Bane cam.
Oh my God.
You know?
Dude. Sky Piercer on the Bane.
I wonder how many stacks he has. Are we able to check how many stacks the Bane has?
Minimum 4.
Minimum 4.
Minimum 4.
Dude, he's got and he just got the wings. So he's even faster now. And shielded.
A little more sustainable. As if the single click on the ale wasn't enough.
Yeah, he's a little more chunky now, I'd say. You know,
he's
this
all
is
tummy.
Yeah, this is. I don't know.
Oh, passive push up top 2. All right, Liquid answers back.
All right, what can TLPH do here? I mean, as much as I gotta say it's looking a little dicey for TLPH, you can't count them out. Just like we were saying that in the previous game with Team Falcons. This kind of lineup, you even saw how tanky Sanford can be on the Alice, but I think even to an extent, they just got caught in a bad team fight position. Oheb has struggled, and I think this is the sentiment here with our gold laners right now. You know, the typical heroes that we usually see, they're having a really hard time in the current meta.
Yeah, I think what you could call that whole situation where they got wiped out is a string of bad decisions.
Yeah.
And hard punishes from Falcons. That means if Liquid answers half of that equation with better decisions going into the late game, and they should be fine. They only really have to worry about Falcons' positioning, Falcons' propensity to go for that 2 ult combo, which is so devastating. Liquid got caught from out of nowhere with that. They got clocked. They got gassed immediately. So if Liquid can see that, then they should be fine. Easier said than done, obviously, because Falcons has better vision overall.
I think Ogwin's trying to do exactly what he did before. He's going to be spotted out there by Sanford, though.
Yep, stuffed out.
Are they going to just go ahead and stop them? They're going to go for this Lord, though. It's for the taking.
Traction Pulse, zoning out Liquid. As Sanji Falls didn't even get the use of most of that real-world manipulation. Sanford comes in, taking down Marco. A huge shutdown for the Apex Predator. He's still alive, but just barely as Kyle takes him out. 2 for 1 to trade. Ogwin once again to the back line, taking down Oheb. But the Filipino sniper survives. In comes Carl Teasy. Suddenly Falcons are so chunky, even a Lancelot can't put a dent on them.
Ooh, that could have gone way worse if Oheb went down too. But man, Sanji deleted in that fight. They lost a ton of damage on the profile here for TLPH. And for Team Falcons, they're walking in with this next Lord toward the base.
More than just damage, I think it's the utility. It's the box that Sanji provides that was so important for Falcons to find and to neutralize. Oh my God, Carl Teasy put down 1/8 of his health. That was scary.
Yeah, he's got to go back, heal up there, dealing with this Lord. They do have the waves cleared out, though, so they'll be able to clear out the Lord. They lost another base turret. They're trying to hold on to this bottom one. They'll post up around it, and they should be able to maintain this last base turret unless Team Falcons decides to do something, and they won't.
This is not how Stallions are meant to live. This is not their natural habitat. A closed-off space, just inside your base where Falcons cordon off, where you're allowed to roam. They need free range. They need a lot of land mass. And Liquid are denied that. Falcons are up 5,000 gold. I'll tell you now, worse than the amount of gold is, again, the lack of vision and effective space to move around. That's why Ogwin is capable of finding Oheb so easily.
Yeah, like I said, this is a tough game for Oheb. You know, you can see he's got some items, but he's not going to have any stacks, or literally no stacks at all in the Sky Piercer, but also...
He owes stacks.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the defensive items he needs either to withstand that. He's literally relying on his dash and the flicker.
But that's the thing. Would you build a defensive item on a Granger in this case? Yeah, because you're still lacking damage. Is there... All right, this is rhetoric, but is there enough damage on Carl Teasy to scare Falcons? I tell you now, no. He's been puncturing through dudes for the better part of the past 5 minutes to no effect.
And that's what I'm saying, man. Oh, hold on, Stanford, okay.
That is the Mountain Shocker and the Traction Pulse already. Okay, so Liquid standing their ground, forced out 2 ults.
They forced out 2 ults. I think if you look at this too, again, this is one of those situations where TLPH is in that position where we need those items, and by that I mean especially on Sanford and especially on JP to go ahead and tank up a lot of what's being thrown at them. But even so, if they have those items, it's also protecting Oheb. A Super Marco can appear from anywhere. So Oheb, the problem, like, put yourself in Oheb's shoes. He's got to keep his head literally on a swivel, man, like 360. He's got to look for Ogwin and Super Marco. They can appear from anywhere.
He needs more than a third eye. He needs a fourth, a fifth, a sixth.
Yeah.
There's so many things coming at him, and he's the only real reliable source of damage, because Carl Teasy has to think of the retribution too. See, a lot of these wipeouts, they happen pre or post Lord, because they come from that moment, that singular need.
I mean, if you really think about it too, Leo, like, even a Sanji, if he sets up the RWM, he's like a sitting target. Like, he might be, like, he's not getting the full use out of his RWM in a lot of these fights.
Not in the last Lord. Mountain Shocker coming in. Kyle Teasy sees all of them.
Oh, look at
Ogwin posting up. Oh, I don't know if Oheb knows.
Did they get information here? Sanji and Oheb both there. Ogwin goes to the back.
Glorious Pathway dropped in. Kyle Teasy secures. And look at the back. Ogwin totally misses as Oheb dashes on out. Sanford taken out.
Oh, they survive. Oh!
And in comes Marco. Carl Teasy, Oheb and JP retreat.
Marco!
For the price of the Lord. This is not worth it.
Super Marco's waited all series for this, and he finally gets it. On the Bane, they'll clear out the Lord, and they're ready to go for Carl Teasy tries to delay it.
And it's just delaying the inevitable as Team Falcons PH get on the board, denying the sweep 2-1.
Team Falcons needed a flight, and they got it here in Game 3. What a game, and good thing we're not going to a sweep. Let's go over to the panel instead.
I asked for more damage from Falcons, and they gave Khalid swords, full damage on the Khalid, a Bane in the gold lane. I didn't expect this to happen.
Now this is the Falcons we expected. Says not over. Definitely not yet. They're now playing with claws, some swag. Even in the items, we saw it just a little bit ago. You know, Renmar, there were some signs of keys to victory that Team Falcons still weren't able to do. DLPH still got turtles, but what in the world happened here? Why is it close all of a sudden?
Bane gold lane, man. The inevitable thing about Bane. Holy Crystal, and then he goes for Sky Piercer, second item. Then he gets the Lightning Truncheon, then Blood Wings. It's fantastic itemization from Super Marco. People would probably say that Ogwin's build, bro, kind of sus. What the hell's the Khalid doing building swords? But what is Khalid's main weapon? A sword.
Yeah,
And then suddenly, it was that Kali that suddenly broke every team fighting formation that is built around the Eve. Super Marco gets the MVP, and understandably so, this Bane popped off at the right time. Similar to how that Bane belly's popping out of his shirt. Super Marco was able to do that at the exact right time. Although he wouldn't always flicker and then throw the sharks perfectly with a deadly catch, he would find the right catch at the right time.
Man, I apologize because I immediately looked at my belly. If it was the same as Bane's, I lagged out with that joke.
And then you laughed when you looked at me.
Yeah, no, I
got you there. I got you there, bro.
I went because I laughed because I wanted to respond with what you said because I was like, was that me?
Bro, you can't cap no more. You can't cap. I got you.
Come on, man. I can cap, but Super Marco did not. That's for sure. In this game number 3, they definitely put up a solid fight where there were times that Team Liquid Philippines has managed to get ways or at least the steps for them to get into victory by getting those turtles, getting maximum objectives. And even though Team Falcons were getting some kills, PLPH at this point in this part of the clip, they were still leading by 700 gold, but that was changed by Team Falcons in one major lineup. They heavily focused on playing fire with fire, and I think that is what they need. That is exactly what Ogwen did, and that placed the momentum so much for Team Falcons to handle.
Falcons just showed up with more damage. They could not get the burst mage onto Few, so they said, let's put damage onto our roamer.
Right.
Ogwen essentially turned into an EXP laner at this point, man. Flapteezy was the actual roamer of the composition based on their positionings every team fight.
Right.
While Ogwen was the one looking for ganks. Good avoidance there by Oheb. But you see how much damage Ogwen can dish out. Marco able to flicker just in time to hawk 2 on that thing.
There's your roamer.
Taken out while Ogwen was the one looking for ganks. Good avoidance there by Oheb. But you see how much damage Ogwen can dish out. Marco able to flicker just in time to hawk 2 on that thing.
There's your roamer.
Taking out Oheb. Double kill. Make that triple. Marco chaining the kills.
That was just an insane. Based on what we were telling you guys a while ago, the only change except for those turtles were a lot of the invades coming in from Team Falcons. And I have to say, there were some mistakes coming in from Oheb during the early portions of our game that really gave Super Marco the edge in terms of the gold scaling.
Yeah, for Team Liquid Philippines, you saw that it looks like they just weren't ready with the sheer damage output that could come out of Falcons.
Right.
Again, with the itemization, once the items come up, we really have to point out what they've done here because there's also another crucial item. A very important part of a Kimmy build in this era, Demon Hunter Sword, that would melt any frontliner that's going to be standing in front of his way. Tip for the Kimmies out there in your RGs, pick up this item. Even if you only have like one super tanky guy in the opposing team, even if it's an Alice with the Radiant Armor, Blade Armor, you don't really care. It's gonna hurt, yes, but you do need that DHS to come out.
Right.
Deal as much damage as you can, and don't be the only main damage dealer. Falcons again knew that they are lacking burst. So then Super Marco comes out with the bait. Sky Piercer second item. Once that Divine Glaives in, bro, as long as Marco's alive and even he has just a bit of health, Liquid's gonna get melted. What an adjustment. It was a huge risk.
Right.
Not gonna lie, straight up huge risk by Falcon. But they were able to hold on long enough to make it work.
And this was a really good job as well from Flapteezy, considering that there were a lot of possible, entry points coming in from Team Liquid Philippines, given that they do have the Alice. They even have a high loss where once you see the glorious pathway come into the Land of Dawn, that means that at least 2 or 3 members of Team Liquid Philippines are going to be there to engage and get a kill. And that's what they've been doing from the 6th up to the 8th minute, where they were just basically targeting, Flapteezy and Ogwen. But the good sign coming in from them was that they were very much willing to die just to give out information. And once, Flapteezy or Ogwen is out, then Countteezy is just going to put up the Mountain Shocker and at least, give out the bits of info that they need to be able to at least prepare themselves for what's about to happen. Super Marco, hiding in the bushes. I think that's really what helped. Helped Team Falcons in getting this victory for themselves. The information and the ability to actually back that info up with damage.
Yeah, you were pointing it out earlier, the errors of Team Liquid Philippines as well. The 2 times OHEB died earlier in the game should not have happened. And they had the information where the members of Falcons were at that time.
Right.
While Falcons also had the information where OHEB was. The first time OHEB died at the center of the map, yeah, he got to see Kyle Teasy, but he knows that the Bane's going to be rotating from the gold lane. Why are you fighting there? And then the second one was, why are you checking the bushes where the Bane could be when the Bane is the one that could pop you off? So a few errors as well in terms of checking coming out of OHEB. Again, the fact that after the Blade of the Heptices, you see the Kali go for the Dreadnought armor.
Correct.
But then the sudden surprise of the BOD third item after that, I think, is what made Liquid start scratching their heads like, wait, where's all this damage coming from? Why are we suddenly getting blasted by this Khalid? Khalid with a Heptices and a defensive item shouldn't be hurting this much. Oh no, he has a BOD.
Yeah, that was like you said a while ago, a ballsy move coming in from Ogwen, because there were times that Ogwen wasn't really seen in the map as much compared to how much Flap AC was at the spotlight of Team Liquid Philippines, and it makes things a little bit difficult for DLPH as to their approach and how they would be able to at least counterattack, given that the Raging Sandstorm could either make or break the situation here for Team Falcons. There were times that, the Raging Sandstorm hit at least 2 or 3 members and that possibly ended the team fight, or there was a time that it only hit 1. So it really was just a matter of breaking the game, dissecting it into the best of your abilities, and dividing the team fight where Super Marco is going to take advantage of it. Basing on how it was in terms of game number 3, it was the Bane really holding out his own and taking matters into his own hands against OHEB.
New stat line that we have for our head-to-heads, the gold at 5, EXP at 5, KDA at 5, that pertains to at 5 minutes into the game, because we usually see that as the crossover into the mid lane portion. Bane led in all categories, gold, EXP, KDA at 5. And we also got to see that reflect into what happened after 5 minutes. How more comfortable it was for Super Marco to do the things that he was doing in the map, which is why it was very warranted that Carl Teasy was able to find that gank onto Super Marco topside, taking out the Bane for its first death.
Correct.
But then suddenly you start feeling, where's the presence of the Granger? And this is one of those scenarios where it's partly because of the errors that we pointed out, the fault of OHEB, mostly because you gotta have BB chasing after you, bro, with 2 swords.
That's pretty difficult. That's a threat that obviously if you're OHEB, you don't want to fix.
Yeah, at the end, it was a Heptices, BOD, Malefic Roar, Sea Halberd, Ethan's like, what is a backliner gonna do?
And this is a recap for what has happened so far all throughout the last 3 games. There's been some constant presence of both the Lancelot specifically, the YSS, not so much, because there were some changes on toward the idea of Team Falcons and what they would want to do here. They changed from a Fredrin in game number 2 and a YSS in game number 3, plus the Uranus. So this is Team Falcons kind of playing towards their comfort, plus a little bit more ingredient, a little bit more spice to their gameplay by just adding on the damage. Let's fight damage with damage if that's what they want.
Yeah, and now I think Team Liquid Philippines have to ease up a little bit on their focus towards Fuse picks and Ogwen's picks. For games 2, 3, they put a lot of pressure onto taking away the Franco, the Hilda, the Farsa, took out the Grok, Juice in. Now, because of what you saw from game number 3, you have to take out the Bane from the hands of Super Marco. If ever there's an option where Falcons hasn't shown their gold laner yet, and they need damage, they need to make sure that the Bane doesn't end up with Falcons anymore.
Yeah, man, that's the idea that Team Falcons kind of opened up already.
Yeah.
Because from the looks of it, you were talking about the picks of Few and Ogwen for sure. But before anything else, before we head into game number 4, we gotta need a break, man. If you haven't done it, we were recently nominated for numerous titles. Numerous during the Esports Award.
Yeah, you can vote for Team Vitality, Mlbb for Esports Team of the Year, Kirk for Esports Breakthrough Player of the Year, Team Liquid, and Team Falcons for Organization of the Year.
I mean, Team Liquid for Content Group. Moonton has also been nominated for the Esports Publisher of the Year, and Mobile Legends Bang Bang for Esports Mobile Game of the Year and Esports Game of the Year. Man, it feels so good to be nominated. We are at our 9th year. It's very nice to meet all of you, and I hope we get to see you more. And thank you so much for your support. This would have not been possible without you guys.
Year after year, MLBB Esports continues to grow because of you.
And you can also catch Bark, Unexpected, Nobita, and Ace Banzuelo live at the MPL Arena. Sony Music has got us covered with performances that will surely hype up the crowd. Just a while ago, Bark Boy was already there. And, you know, he's obviously known because his father is Francis M, but he's also doing a little bit,
legendary.
You know, a lot of things in his own. And for people who are not familiar with Francis M, he is a rap icon here in the Philippines.
A legend.
An
actor too.
What?
And an actor too.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Bart is his son. Would you say descendant? No, I'll just call him his
son. Yeah, straight up his son.
Yeah. So
not that far back.
Yeah, not that far back. But you get the point. You don't want to miss all of that and get hype aside from the matches that we have today. And man, people expected for this to go 5 games. A lot of the people here wanted to experience 3, especially for the Cavalry, because, you know, they were already halfway through the door. But Team Falcons started pulling it back and says, not just yet, we want our hands on that door.
Yeah, despite what we saw from Team Falcons in that previous game, I still feel worried for them, definitely. As the Falcons guy on the table here, Liquid has just been more steady this series. In the objectives, Kyle TZ only won like 1 or 2. The first Lord that begun the swing in favor of Falcons. The second Lord still went into the hands of Carl TZ and Team Liquid. It's just at that point they were just out damaged. There was way too much burst coming out of Falcons. But then, let's say Team Falcons takes out the Bane, and then will they still have room to pick up a roamer with high damage and strong sustainability in the Khalid? Can they run that back? Usually, the answer to those questions like that are no. While Liquid, they may have lost, but they lost in a game where Falcons decided to flip a coin, and it just landed in favor for them.
Yeah, I have to agree on that one. It was quite a risk, a calculated one, or maybe even, you know, all cards are dealt, we're backed into a corner, might as well go all in.
Yeah.
Let's try to figure out how we can do this. And Super Marco's like, Coach, I want to use the Bane. I want to fight them where they're really pushing us back. And that has been the recipe for success in game number 3. But knowing this, there might be a certain adjustment into Team Liquid's composition, because this is the first time in this series that they need to adjust their strategy.
Yeah, I had no problems with the Liquid draft. I looked at the Liquid draft, we looked at the Liquid draft, and we were thinking, oh, this is probably not gonna go well for Falcons.
Correct.
But Falcons found that swing at Lord 1.
I'm going to watch you and be right back.
Again, for Falcons, do you have any more like that? Because Liquid's gonna take that out. If Liquid tried to match that, then okay. What else are Liquid gonna show? Are they gonna go back to funneling everything into the hands of Carl TZ, who has been a monster all series long? Are they gonna try to go double fighter again? Are they really just gonna take out Bane and show the Team Falcons that the lineup just didn't work out? Who's gonna go which? Falcons will go blue yet again for the 3rd game in a row. This gives Team Liquid an opportunity to just go for the same approach and just make sure the Bane doesn't end up with Marco.
Yeah, and that also brings up the question, how many more fighter gold laners does Super Marco have in his arsenal? Because that, it seems to be the concern that we have right over here. In terms of the marksman, it does not work against Team Liquid Philippines just because of how fast, how aggressive they are in terms of the scaling up until the 1st to the 5th minute of the game. But in that 3rd matchup, there was a sudden change, there was a sudden shift in the tide because of Super Marco just having that fighter gold lane. So will the CC be available? Will, you know, the export even be an opportunity? You're looking at the top 5 rankings, and in terms of the average gold, it's OHEB. Obviously the richest guy, going back to the meme from last season, he has showcased that he is hella rich in that one, and of course, joined by the others as well. Domingkite, interestingly, at the 5th place, but it makes a lot of sense considering that it's a very well dynamic option for him.
Yeah, considering that OHEB is Super Marco, I believe I don't know if these rankings already include the playoff games that we've seen, or if this is heading into the regular season. But you also have to point out that for especially Aurora, their games end faster usually.
Correct. You know what? You're right. Actually, when the longer I think about it, it's pretty true. That's because of how clean their games are. Meanwhile, for OHEB and Super Marco, there's tendency for them to just highly, for the rest of the team to depend on them. That's the idea that we have in mind as to why the gold really matters for their team. But now, looking back into the Team Liquid Philippines against Team Falcon matchup, yeah, Team Falcons has some breathing room, but I wouldn't say a lot, because going back to what you said, this was a matchup that was an enormous win for the Cavalry just because of their play style really adjacent, or is really parallel towards what they want to do with the composition that they have in the draft. So if there is a change for Team Liquid Philippines, maybe it's their approach, because in game number 2 specifically, we saw them kind of holding back with their aggression when there were times that they had a chance to be able to finish the game quite faster than 17 or 18 minutes. But for Team Falcons, that is exactly what they did. We're going with expanding rivers this time. Both teams having a 40% win rate towards that, and this is what Team Liquid wants initially, to play faster. But for Team Falcons, the idea is for them to catch up to the pace, and I think with that game number 3, if the Bane is still gonna be there, there might be a chance that they would have caught up completely.
Yeah, so far it still looks very similar in terms of the banning, and that might again be the main idea here for Falcons, wherein if they can, just pick up the same lineup that they went for. While for Team Liquid Philippines, just straight up take out the Bane that became the MVP of the previous game. Are they going to rush it even? I think it would be too much though.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an overreaction if they just rush the Bane now.
It's pretty risky at this point, because you don't want to set up your ace card quite early. But hey, you know what?
Whoa.
Team Liquid just went, let's pull off an ace card this early in the draft, picking up the Lunox.
How greedy are they going to go? Are they going to go for like a high loss or a backsha at Rome, or are they just going to go straight up go Jawhead or something like that? Jawhead, Grok, something that's just going to be oppressive at the center of the map.
Right.
That's going to pair well. Like, if Liquid want to end this fast, if they just want to go like pure aggro mode, stampede mode, you go for roamers such like that. Or will they try to find stability and pick up a roamer that wants to revitalize the backsha, the high loss, as we previously mentioned?
They can even deny the Khalid from a while ago that was utilized by Oakwin to their advantage, just because of the setup and even, the blades being there for Team Falcons. But I think they're going to be replicating the same 3 picks that they have had in game number 3. The Uranus, which is obviously a Flap TZ, Kimmy being a few hero. This is quite, similar to what we've seen, but yeah, if you're Team Liquid Philippines, how do you approach this? Do you also go with the same idea? Just be more careful in terms of the execution, just like what OHEB didn't do in game number 3?
Yeah, I think they're considering whether or not Sanford should go for the Alice again, or if they should try something different. As we mentioned, Yuzong earlier, they're gonna go back and double down towards that idea. Damage, burst, and let's see if this means that we're gonna be seeing something differently for the gold, or if they really just wanted to get Yuzong for the counter punish with the early Petri and Furious Dive combos.
This is, I would say, a really aggressive early game coming in from Team Liquid Philippines. Yeah. They have quite a tight window because they still need Sanji to scale up a bit, but if both Carl TZ and Sanford can apply so much pressure to the rest of the members of Team Falcons, there might be, a window that is cracked open for them at this point in time. Because, man, I'm still not satisfied with the damage output that Team Falcons has, just because they only have Flap TZ using the Uranus, not a lot of setups available, and for Liquid, it's the Franco taken out. Here is the question, will they take out the Khalid, or will they take out the Bane?
They took out the Bane. They take out the Bane straight up. It's like, that's what we expected Team Liquid to do. So now, I'm pretty sure Falcons knew this was gonna happen. So what do they have cooking now? Because with the Yuzong showed up by Liquid, you turn off so many gold laners that you potentially want to pick up here. are you still willing to go fighter in the gold lane, and now you're just going to be playing around the Kimi and the Yi Sun Shin? But then in terms of the pure impact that the Bane gold can dish out, other fighter gold laners aren't going to be as impactful. The impact of other fighter gold laners, CC being one of them, but CC's gone. Esmeralda, you don't see enough shields. Esmeralda's going to get melted through most likely. The lap gold lane? I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know. Have you seen anything like that? But no, we haven't seen this hero in this series. The Hilda coming up pretty clutch here for Team Liquid Philippines.
Yeah, that is a Hilda that garnered so much praise after his performance in MSC 2025. JP on that Hilda messed up SRG quite often. So how is Falcons going to round it off? I think Granger might actually really struggle here.
Yeah, there's a lot of dive coming in from Liquid.
Brody, you don't... Are you actually going to go fighter, but then the Lunox damage is going to trump you? Oh no, this Lunox first pick and rush by Liquid, though greedy as it looks, might have shut down a lot of things that Falcons want to do. See, they go for Badang for Oakwind, and we mentioned in the previous game show, it didn't show up then, but it showed up here. This is going to give impact. It's not going to melt down the backline or deal damage as much as a Bane, but the displacement and the attention pulled by the way of the Dragon, and of course the respectable damage as well. It's all right. It's not as crazy as Bane, but it's all right. Might just be enough.
Yeah, I mean, from the looks of it, right? The problem from Team Falcons is that Super Marco has always been in the middle of everybody else. But now he has to show there seems to be an idea that he can get away in certain situations where the invades are going to come for him. But the Esmeralda is going to be the answer, potentially from OHEP. This is a fighter-to-fighter matchup that we have not seen in this series.
We had talked about the eras of the league all season long. How about we throw it back to the Age of Dreamers, to Sunsparks, to Kiel VJ. JP back then was the one holding the Retri as a mid laner. How different times were. Double fighter gold lanes.
How times have changed. Will this be another edition for Liquid, or will it be for Falcons? Casters, the floor is yours.
Thank you to the panel, breaking it down. A game 4 upon us. I gotta say this, man, Leo. I think I'm liking where gold lane's going. I think I like that we have a fighter versus fighter matchup in the gold lane.
You like?
I like.
I'll tell you that I'm
Welcome to Mobile Legends.
And I'm happy for a good other choices.
Yeah.
I'm not happy for how big picture this might look. Because teams have to now consider, halfway through the draft, we don't even know what kind of gold laner we're seeing. So this is definitely a nice twist to the already interesting stop to the stampede.
Yeah.
Somewhat more a double pivot.
It might be the way to solve that issue. I don't know. You know, I mean, even looking at the emblems here, I mean, look, Marco's built for some damage, but he's also got the concussive blast to help clear that wave a little bit better on this choke.
And to be able to rotate out, look, not even a minute in and he's already lurking around bushes trying to influence that mid lane matchup.
Okay, he's going to get spotted out though too, and that's the thing. It's almost a little weird, honestly, to see that. You know, Super Marco on a Cho and then Oheb on a Esmeralda.
Hey,
you know,
when they both started playing, as mentioned by Renmar, it was the Age of Dreamers. These world champions have already been playing way before they started winning. And oh my God, early game, look at Sandbar, the Apex Predator, putting Flap Easy down to a 10th of his. All right, so we were saying it's in their arsenal.
It's there.
They went through these eras.
I wonder, you know, I would say I think for these players too, it's a nice change of pace. JP's going to deal with a lot of damage.
Oh, wow. Possibly a Traceless into a basic attack away from death.
So I expected him to get that kill. That should have been the first blood, but again, no first blood there. Turtle's going to be up here shortly. Mind you, too, throughout the series, we've had different maps now. This is the expanding rivers that we get to go ahead and watch both these Titans play on. They'll go ahead and rotate for it. And again, even like the panel mentioned, and we did in the previous game, Carl Teasy's been pretty locked in on the objectives, man. You know, but Falcons has showed fight, I would say, especially in the last game. This one's going to be a little difficult to take here, though. They set up Turtle, and they're going to secure it easily here. First Turtle of the game, the TLPH.
Random Black Dragon form.
Okay, guys.
From out of nowhere. Again, that's one of the main strengths of Yuzhong, besides the early game damage output.
Big Dragon.
Big Dragon. Black Dragon. Stop all opposition from contesting. You'll see his Petrify is just about to go off cooldown, so he's been very proactive. I like how Yu Zhong is showing back up into the metagame right when Sanford needs it.
Yeah, this is probably going to pop up more and more, too. Again, you got to be able to respect that damage that Yu Zhong can pop off. Wow. Woo! Speaking of damage, Sanji bringing it down the damage himself. Gets the flicker out of Ogwin.
Carl Teasy forcing a response from Falcons. Not just stealing away that small camp, forcing a Mount Shocker, but takes down Ogwin. Draws first blood.
Yeah, great play there. Great response, too. Again, that's one of the things. I'm still surprised, man, how many times Carl Teasy gets his hands on the Lancelot. You know, from game to game, and it almost seems a little just kind of like clockwork in a way. It's like TLPH knows how to set things up for Carl. Wow, by the way, Sanford burned the Petrify to go ahead and capitalize that kill with the damage from Sanji.
He didn't burn it, Joseph. He used it very effectively to stop Flapteezy's reign to that bottom part of the map. And oh my god, over with a full combo. A fight breaking off camera. JP gets taken down by Kyle in an attempt alongside OM and Carl to take out the jungler from Falcons. You know what? Marco almost died too. He flickered out.
So a whole lot. It could have been a whole lot worse, basically, for Team Falcons.
There's a whole lot happening across the maps.
Both
what's happening.
I guess that's what we expect here in Game 4. But this is the problem, man. Your TLPH, even if they're not getting those kills, they're getting a lot of resources. They're able to get their battle spells down, able to get a little bit of extra gold here. You can see that small gold lead building up in the gold lane themselves for Oheb now. But even so, it's more so of just TLPH playing to the strength of this lineup. Now, we have to look at Team Falcon's lineup and think, when does that power spike come in? JP, he's tanky enough, but will he survive this?
JP flickers, gets the shield from that Y brush. Carl Teasy, Phantom Execution, Mount Shocker from Kyle Teasy. Flapteezy, will he survive? The answer is yes. Black Dragon form may have gone to waste. Wasn't really used much to their advantage. Super Marco hides in the river brush. JP putting up a perimeter. Mount Shocker both thrown out. Carl Teasy punctured into that turtle. Gets the retribution. Kicked by Marco on to JP.
He still goes, but they're going to jump in. JP falls, but here was a response from Falcons. They want to go for Sanford. Sanford can't escape that one either.
Ionic Edge gets him down, and Sanji barely survives. Team Liquid Philippines trades out 2-1.
They traded out. They get the objective. I don't know if they're looking for more here. I think they're just forcing Falcons out.
Baby Cakes is angry, but Flapteezy forces them back.
Okay, forces them back. TLPH again with the objectives, but Team Falcons fighting for what they can. I think that would have been different too if in that exchange Super Marco actually had the flicker. He didn't have it, but he still was able to get the kickoff that way, the Dragon, to set things up to go ahead and focus on JP here. So here's an interesting fact. A Super Marco first. This is the first time Super Marco has used Cho in his entire MPL Philippine career. That's 338 games.
Yep, he's won an MPL championship. He's played across many different international events. He's become a world champion. And at all time, this is the first time he's played Cho.
I wonder how that discussion happened in the draft. You know, it's like, hey, who you want to play, Super Marco? Earlier it was Bane, and then it was, I wonder if he was just like, yeah, just give me the Cho.
This is what the draft needed, and you already saw, right, how Marco was able to isolate JP, stop him from annoying and breaking the rest of Falcons' formation. So far, Falcons are holding their own against Liquid, not that much of a lead. Oh my god, OF gets kicked to the side, does not even blink, did not use the Purify. He's okay.
He's okay, but JP might not be. Takes so much damage, will have to flicker out and survives. Meanwhile, Sanford, does he actually re-engage on this? Sanji's around the corner. There's 3 dudes here under the turret. I don't think Team Falcons are going to fall for it.
What is the rhyme and reason? Why are they doing this? Is this what Liquid was setting up? The mid lane push. Carl Teasy, Baby Cakes take down that mid lane tier 1, but Marco will trade out. All this while Turtle spawns.
Turtle's up 3 for 3. TLPH is going to grab this objective too. A turret does go down up top. They'll get the brilliance out of Sanji, but that's what they wanted. I think TLPH played into this and they grabbed the turtle and the macro here.
2 T's for 2 T's. But I would rather trade a turret for a turtle. So in my book, Falcons win that.
Falcons, I think if you look at this, the map pressure that they're able to put is a big thing, but this is the thing that I'm missing, Leo, is these fights and these objectives.
You know what, I got a little confused.
Yeah.
Liquids win because they got the turret in mid and the turtle. It was just a turn. I thought Marco was going to go all the way to tier 2.
Yeah, I thought he was too. Actually, when he was up there, I was thinking he was going to put pressure onto that. But
so Liquid's fine.
Liquid is fine. They still maintain a lead, but I think even regardless of that, it's again, Team Falcons hasn't been really able to find a fight around the objective in this game. I know they've more or less given up that option. Maybe they're just preparing for the Lord fight here, the first one.
It's more because Falcons don't allow it. Falcons are so good at breaking formations. Liquid has JP, but look at Falcons. They have Ogwin, they have the traction pulse on Few, they have Marco to get the kick. And Marco's been off map for a while. Oh my god, they throw everything at JP, and he does not have his flicker. Finally falls as Fanford finds Few. Can he finish what he started? Joe energy, not enough.
Oh, what a move from Few. Able to survive that. Ogwin's gonna have to burn his flicker, but man, a good catch. Think how many times JP's had to deal with this, man. He's gotten fist break, fist cracked, everything for the better part of this entire of the game. And eventually, you know, he's had to always use the flicker to get out of there, but this is an interesting position to be in. But again, if you throw all that at JP, I think JP is happy to take it.
That's what you call a threat magnet.
Yeah.
He is literally forcing ults out of Falcons, because what is the alternative? He gets away, heals up, and then gets back into the fray.
Yeah, that's just dad things, man.
That's just how dads do.
That's just what dads do. You know, they just tank up what they can, and they let the kids shine after that.
They roll up the sleeves and go in again.
Go again.
Go again.
Go again. TLPH, though, this is what they're going to do. They're going to go again for this objective. They're setting themselves up around this. They had a nice little push on the cross map. They're going to grab their objective and get in position. It looks like, though, Team Falcons actually wants to go and contest this if they can.
Yep. Team Falcons have been playing the long game for the past 4 or 5 minutes, better part of the mid game. But is it going to pay off? Because looking at the map right now, Marco has been planted on this side of the map, and they haven't really been winning much.
Yeah.
But when Marco was actually part of fights, that's when Falcons got more kills.
I think he's going to go for it here. Conceal was popped. There's the Dragon Form, too. They're going to blitz the Lord.
All right. Liquid get what they want. They stampede through the Lord pit and skedaddle right on through. Oh, the conceal from Ogwin. Who does he want to punch?
Yeah. What the?
Sanford finds Few, compromises him. Look at that back line.
Few, man. Few has
What is happening, man?
dealt with so much, but just his own. A good thing and on this defense, and Team Falcons should be fine. They should be out this Lord fine.
Few is Falcons JP.
Yeah.
Wasting so many resources that he gets away. Up to now, he hasn't died.
He hasn't died. He's maintained things really well here, but this, in the jungle,
Carl Teasy really wants to find one. Gets Ogwin. Flap Teasy gets out of there, and Carl Teasy punctures through. Got eyes on this tier 2. As Liquid play the macro game, it's their turn. Super Marco alongside Kyle, throwing everything that they can at Oheb as Oheb just dances around him, shaking that thing, and Few gets caught by 40. They're already inside the base. Joseph, this isn't looking good.
Oh no, what are they gonna do here? Team Falcons, good thing Super Marco's still alive, but I can't believe Oheb went 1v2. And now they're looking to take another base turret down if they can, but Team Falcons finds themselves a back healthy. Few almost up in 10. And they keep TLPH at bay. They will lose another Holy Shield down bot.
The cavalry come alive. You can hear it in the MPL arena here in Cuneta Astrodome. You feel the rumbling. It's about to turn into a stampede as Liquid are at match point and are knocking into Falcons base.
They're so close at this point. We're going to have to see, though. Team Falcons, I don't want to count them out here yet. They've still showed that they can win some skirmishes if they're able to get the right targets here. But look at Oheb.
Oheb just jumps on in. Point blank, falling Star Moon. The Apex Predator hunting for targets. Ogwin falls. They're underneath tier 1. 3 in mid. And they're already on their way. 30 seconds, I think Liquid will just wait for this Lord.
Yeah, they'll wait for it. And that's what I'm saying. I was saying if they pick the right targets, man, but now it's kind of weird. It shifted to the point where Oheb can just tank up all the damage, be up front, and it gives some of that pressure off of JP's shoulders because that's what he was doing in the early portion of the game. You know, he was taking all that, but now it's Oheb, their gold laner, that's like, I got this. JP, you do your thing, you scout out who you can. So I'm wondering what Team Falcons wants to do. How they're going to respond to this, though? Again?
Trying to
go
pin
for
down Flapteasy. Oheb gets hit with a mountain shocker. Oh, you see the swagger on Kiel Soriano. He's asking for more as the rest of Liquid barrel down on this Lord, approaching less than half health.
Okay, they're going to secure the Lord here. Carl Teasy will be able to go ahead and get that one. So secured their Lord. They'll reset. They'll get ready to charge towards the base of Team Falcons here. Now, with this kind of lead, this might be a series winner here. This might be the one to push into the base to end the series and end the dreams of Team Falcons moving forward.
Game 3 might have just been a stumble, a little pebble in the path of the Stallions as they make their way through the play-ins. Falcons have to hunker down. They have to defend, and I'm looking at their potential to clear this wave and to live through this final siege, and it's not looking good. Mount Shocker plus traction post thrown out. Falcons holding out. Lord already in.
Lord is here. They'll deal with this. TLPH, Oheb's going to jump in, but I think they still want to go for the fight. They're fighting around this Lord.
Delayed entry by these cores as they switcheroo. Sanford and JP, their turn to guard the perimeter. Waves crashing in. Black Dragon form from the Apex Predator.
Just to zone them out, but they're going to force it under this turret. They might just go for the discipline route unless Team Falcons is able to secure it, and Owen still alive, and they still keep the mid-turret.
JP flickers back. Falcons still standing. Marco looking for stragglers.
What do you want to do?
Mount Shocker. Who's Marco going to find? Oheb in here. Possibly a knock-up as Marco gets taken down by Sanji. The chef. Cook. The bulletproof. As Carl Teasy gets shut down by few former teammates taking each other out. Kyle takes down Oheb. 2 for 2 the trades.
The trade is across the board. The 2 for 2. But ultimately, Team Falcons find hope. They find another draft of win to stay in this series. They still have ground to cover, but this might be enough to get them back into this game, to swing it back in their favor. They took about, 5,000 gold from TLPH.
It ain't over till it's over. This is what I was talking about when I said I'm uncomfortable with how the big picture looks like. In what kind of defense did you expect a gold laner fighter to take the flank? And now in comes Sanford. Petrify. Knocking up too, but he pays the price as he gets kicked right into Kyle Teasy.
What a kick from Super Marco. Again, Sanford was locked in. He wanted that kill, but ends up getting punished and separated from the rest of Team Liquid. And now Team Falcons will go ahead and get ready to take what they need across the map to give them a better option. This might be the first time now in this game they're able to get the Lord.
For the first time in 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes?
It's Falcons' turn to be on the offensive. They cleared out these waves. They turned the map blue. And Liquid have to recover. They're still waiting for Sanford. It's about 30 seconds until his Petrify. So one thing we can say is when this Lord hits critical mass, when this dance eventually starts, both teams will have all of the resources. Can confirm, yes, even all the flickers on Falcon.
It's going to be a full-on fight at this point. TLPH has had free reign over the objectives until now. And Team Falcons, look at Marco. Keep an eye on him. He's going to be able to utilize these expanding rivers. And he's got the flicker now up. Who's he going to go for? Dragon form going to be popped. They're going to go for it.
Mount Shocker thrown out. Point blank. Carl Teasy secures the Lord as JP's very low. Steal flicker out. Ogling gets taken down by Sanford. Marco catching targets, chasing down Carl Teasy, kicks him right into the oblivion as Carl Teasy still survives. How did the goat do that as few falls? 3 members of Falcon scrambling to survive. Oheb still alive. Falling Star Moon back. Buying time. 2 for none. The Lord belongs to Liquid.
I can't believe no one else went down from Team Liquid. What a fight. They end up getting the Lord. Team Falcons loses 2. But man, can they still stay in the game? They still have 6 seconds on Ogwin and 10 on Few with the Lord. And everything else is marching down.
They do catch Flap. No immortality. Sanji hits the brilliance. They're in the base. Falcons, their moments in the playoffs are but a flicker. Just momentarily, and the base is up next. Sanji gets taken down. Liquid have stampeded through the rivals. Code Titans taking each other out. This ain't mythology, folks. reality. Liquid taking down Falcons 3-1.
We thought we'd first see a sweep. That didn't happen. We thought we'd see 5 games. That didn't happen either. A team of Liquid showcasing once again that they are the better Titan in this matchup tonight.
Okay guys, thank you for tuning in.